And this division is completely wide open, even more so now, which we'll tell you about more later, with the leader of that division, Sideline. Here's the New York road to the Kentucky Oaks for 3-year-old fillies. Demoiselle was won by Muhima. For trainer Brad Cox, he'll send out Sharp Smile today. It looks like she is talented as well. We'll see if she can move forward. Busher and Gazelle still to come in March and in April. With me on the set, New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling, winningest rider in the history of this racetrack, the MIG, Richard Migliori, and this Busanda. No one's really separated themselves. We'll see who steps forward.
Well, I think there's a monkey wrench in the Busanda, and, you know, Greg, you said this is an extreme speed track when I came up here, and there is some debate whether it's speed, whether it's the inside, whatever the case may be. But if, in fact, we have a track that is very much hindering closers, that means there's two contenders in this race, one who may be too slow, Ruth, who knows, the other one, Ramify. They're going to be in a lot of trouble if this is, in fact, a track where making up ground is a difficult thing to do, as they have no speed.
Yeah, although I wonder if Ramify might have a bit more speed in her second start, just being more clued into the proceedings. I thought she was very, very green. What I was struck with, Andy, was just how much Ramify looks like her granddam, her grandmother, Sightseek. And Sightseek didn't have a lot of speed early on in her career, but had more speed as she went on.
I am highly dubious of these horses like Ramify. I just think the horse that she ran down, My Sharona, and I know it's one of your favorite songs, Richie, is going to have a much better chance to win this race simply because she's more forwardly placed. And I didn't trust running away the Wesley Ward horse, but I want the horses that are forward unless something changes dramatically in the next hour.
4 of the 5 races run to this point. It has been a horse on the front end who has not been able to be run down.
And it's not just that. It's like nobody's making a run. You're not seeing horses make runs from behind. It's not like necessarily it's the rail, because there are horses that are chasing outside that are maintaining their position. They're not falling back the way you do see on a gold rail. So I think it may be speed. You may be right, and that's going to hinder the chances of a couple of major players.
Oh, absolutely. It just feels like horses are getting their position and maintaining that position throughout.
Ramify, first out winner for a barn that's poised to win and should be in a few days here. 5th Eclipse Award is outstanding trainer Chad Brown. Big expectations for that filly. We'll see in the rematch here with My Sharona, but My Sharona still a maiden. But yeah, with her speed, makes her incredibly dangerous for trainer Ray Handel on that road to the Kentucky Oaks. Excited about that one to come. Excited to see Kale's Angel as well back at Stakes Company Sprinting, where he looked so good, winning earlier on in the meet. Today's action presented by Claiborne Farm. Fast here in New York and fast at Oaklawn out in Hot Springs, Arkansas. We'll bring you races 4 through 9 to come. Their late pick 5 begins in race 6. Of course, you can play it all by getting signed up and started with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime, and get a $200 deposit match new customer bonus when you punch in the code right there. Bonus 200 at sign up for new members. Again, right there at nairabets.com.
So we saw one of the big singles in this pick 6 win the first leg, but then King Angelo blows it up in the second leg at a big price, and be interesting to see where we head towards the end of the day in this pick 6 carryover.
Well, this race starts the pick 4, so 1 turn mile, condition $16,000 claiming race. We talk about what's done so well today, Andy, and that's been forward horses. Sagamore Mischief, the 6. Is this the one who's going to be in front leading the way?
I don't think so. I don't think this horse is necessarily faster than Winter Ghost. And with Romero Mirage riding Winter Ghost, I think one thing we're learning about Romero, and I think we all are in agreement, the more we see him, the more we like him, he does not get in the way of a horse that's forward.
No, he will allow a horse to use their natural speed. I just wonder, though, on the stretch out with Sagamore Mischief, right, going from 6 furlongs to a mile, if that's not going to make this horse more forward.
I don't disagree with this philosophically. I think you guys are right. But you've got Romero Mirage on a horse that might be is forward, if not more forward, and Jose Lezcano on the other one. And, you know, we think of the world of Jose as a rider, but I don't think of him a guy who's ultra-aggressive out of the gate, whereas I know Romero Mirage is.
See what happens. Romero Mirage, by the way, just took advantage of the way this track's been playing in the last race and went gate to wire.
Not a guy who takes, if he has speed,
and there
he's
he is.
going.
Yeah.
9-2. Little surprising considering the way the track's been playing. He just won on a horse that went gate to wire. That this horse is the price he is right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's not an easy horse to particularly like in this race. I mean, I could never have him the 5 steady Winter's Ghost unless I thought the track could carry him. And I think he may take some pressure from the 9 steady progress as well. Coca-Cola's back, by the way. I believe he's just started riding again, right?
Here's a big long shot on the inside. We start with Strong Light.
He's a horse that's a little tough to make. He does have that big figure 2 back, but he has no speed.
Yeah, he will not be forward. The 2 Whiskey and Soda for
He
trainer
something funny's going on.
Linda Rice.
Yeah, the horse is dropping in class, well placed, but doesn't have the most natural speed.
Sugar Gray Leonard at 21-1.
His form has just completely left him, and I'm not sure he's a horse that wants to go this far even when he's in good form.
Young Christopher Elliott here on Wine Responsibly.
A cleverly named son of Vino Rosso out of Held Accountable, and a horse that should be in a stalking position.
So here's Winner's Ghost. Romero Mirage looking to go back-to-back.
I didn't like him as a horse on paper. I'd rather have horses that are dropping like the 2 and 6 than a horse moving up, but he could benefit from being forward.
Sagamore Mischief is quick and stretches out, so that speed could be dangerous.
It feels like the public may be jumping on board here, recognizing that speed is a good thing to have today.
11-1 here on Indian Quest. Jackie Davis.
Yeah, more of a deep closer, a horse that just probably up against it.
On a fair track, though, I thought he was an interesting long shot.
Steady progress, been forward going longer.
Supposed to be forward. I can't endorse him on his chances, but once again, he does fit the profile.
Horse I thought was intriguing, but the way, again, the track's been playing Ice Road might be difficult.
A great outside draw, should get in a good spot, but again, we've got to really pay attention to the racetrack and if it's hindering a horse's ability.
The other problem with both him and the 6, who's currently favored, is these are not winning types. Between the 2 of them, they're 6 for 72.
True. You
Like
could
I
say
did
that
that
about
math.
a lot of this field, though.
Well, but at least the
Yeah.
2 who I did pick, though I'm not running the winner to bet, at least the 2 is 2 for 5,
2 minutes to post in this 6. Let's welcome in for the first time on our coverage, Maggie Wolfendale.
I need an umbrella holder down here, guys. Anybody volunteering? But I think the rain is having, could be a speculation here, impact on what we're seeing with the track. It's always, the day after a rainstorm or the rain coming down mid card, in that we see it will change the way a race, a track will play. Now, if it carries Sagamore Mischief to this mile in victory, then we absolutely 1000% have a speed bias track, because there is nothing about this horse that says he wants a mile. He is stout, compact. In fact, he's carrying more weight than I've ever seen him. And if you're a horse trying a longer distance for the first time, you want to look as fit as you possibly can. So yes, I totally heed the fact that the track could carry him, but he's not for me, just given the way he's put together at this distance. Now, a horse that does make sense, and Andy talking about number 2, Whiskey and Soda, who's been flirting with favoritism as well. He looks great. He's your typical Linda Rice starter, and he gets that drop back down in class, and he's lesser exposed. The thing with him, though, is that he can be a little obstreperous at the gate. So that can lead to slower than desired starts. So watching how he's acting in the gate, because he is one of the first ones in. He's going to have to stand in there. Obviously, it's too late at that point to change your wagers, but it is something to be mindful of with a horse that could find himself a little further back than you may want to be on this racetrack. So that has led me to number 5, Winter's Ghost. Honestly, both of Rudy Rodriguez's horses look fantastic, as we do see number 10, Ice Road, clicked over to lukewarm 5-2 favoritism. I like both of the appearances of Rudy's horses. I just sided with Winter's Ghost because he projects to be more forward, and I think that's a definitely an element that you want on today's racetrack, at least given so far the way that the races have played out. He's carrying fantastic weight, something that he's struggled with in the past. He just looks as though he's doing well. So I'm going to land on Winter's Ghost here, but have no problem, Greg, with your other favorite in number 10, Ice Road.
Oh, interesting. We were just going to bring up the 10, and all of us up here are a little shocked to see the 10 at 5-2. The way the track's playing from an outside post with his running style seems like that is incredibly short, doesn't
Now,
it?
maybe him being sort of co-favored now is a knock on the 2. Like the 2 is getting under bet a little in this race. And so he ends up being the favorite, but he's not a winning type. He's hung. How many times have you and I been in the show together, talked about? I remember one day where you liked him, and I said, he's a chandelier. And you said to me, top of the stretch, he's got to win today, and he just hung.
Yeah.
And then you add in the potential track profile. What a terrible short price he is.
Well, you brought up an interesting stat, right? Between the 6, Sagamore Mischief, and the 10 Ice Road. Only 6 wins between them with multiple starts. More to the point, 19 seconds between them. Not winning types, horses that are very comfortable running with horses, not as comfortable running by horses.
It's a puzzling race.
Seems like a play against, doesn't
yeah,
he?
and it becomes even more tricky if you start to put in the fact that the track may be hindering horses trying to close from behind. And he's got an outside post on a track where you might be better off trying to save some ground. He's a tough horse to take at a short price under normal circumstances for me. And on this racetrack, I think he's a horrendously overbet horse. Maybe I'll put him in the winner's circle. I picked Whiskey and Soda. I don't love him. I scratched into him, but my goofy selection, St. James, had no shot anyway.
All right, well, keep your eyes on the battle up front. The 5 winners goes Romero Mirage, who is completely aware of how this track's playing. That's how he won the last race. Sagamore Mischief, sprinter, stretching out. Can he get to the front with Jose Lezcano?
The 9 could go as well, so it'll be interesting to see how this race plays out.
Good luck. Here we go. We kick off our coverage with this 6th from Aqueduct. Chris Griffin, the call.
Goes in. All set. And they're off. Speed from in between horses comes Winter's Ghost, is up in the early mix, and here quicker it's going to be Sagamore Mischief. Sagamore Mischief is in front, is up by a length and a half. Winter's Ghost is going to stalk from second, moves out into the center of the racetrack, then they're lined up in behind the top duo. At the rail, here comes Whiskey and Soda is challenging with Sugar Gray Leonard. It's now taking that 3rd position away, and that's going to push Whiskey and Soda back to 4th. Progressing center of the racetrack is Ice Road. It's now going to claim that 4th spot. In behind them, Steady Progress is doing just that, is traveling there in 6th. Then to the inside of that one comes Indian Quest. Tightly at the rail is going to be Wine Responsibly there with late running Strong Light. And now they're tightly bunched as they went 24 and 1 for the opening quarter mile. Sagamore Mischief is in front, and Sagamore Mischief controls the pace. Right there to the outside, Winter's Ghost is challenging from second, 48.46 for a half-mile time. Ice Road has been out in the center of the racetrack, moving nicely, is 3 wide and coming up the leaders now. Whiskey and Soda is trying to keep up here from 4th. Steady Progress is now taking 5th and passing rivals quickly. Here comes Steady Progress out in the center of the racetrack. The leader is still Sagamore Mischief, and Jose Lezcano trying to take him all the way. Is a neck in front as they reach a quarter mile left to go, is going to hug that rail, and now Sagamore Mischief kicks on. Sagamore Mischief, Winter's Ghost is all in, chasing Ice Road center of the racetrack. Steady Progress is trying to make up some mile ground, but Sagamore Mischief is opening up on the field, and less than a furlong to go is 5 lengths in front. Sagamore Mischief is going to take him all the way. Sagamore Mischief dominant on the front end with a front-running score. Sagamore Mischief wins it over Winter's Ghost, Ice Road, and Whiskey and Soda in 1 minute 37 and 4.
Sagamore Mischief, Jose Lezcano, Gustavo Rodriguez, sprinter, stretching out. Gate to wire for the win.
Well, both of you gentlemen were right, and I was wrong. I thought that the 5 would outrun him, but Jose wanted the lead, Lezcano, and he had more speed, as both of you suggested. And as everybody said in this desk when he got the lead, this race is over.
Yeah, we all said it before they cleared the chute. I mean, he just got so comfortable. And I really think that we're looking at a racetrack that is a little bit of that moving sidewalk, right? A little bit of a conveyor belt. They're hitting that, place, and they're just carrying along, and they ran 1-2 around the racetrack.
And I'm not sure it's the rail. I think the rail is good, but I don't think so. Like, why didn't the 2 run better? If the rail was so good, the 2 could have moved up. I just think horses are, they're exaggerating the margins, and it may be a speed situation more than anything out. Very tricky track to look at, but beware of betting deep closers going forward, especially at short prices. If you like a long shot and they're a deep closer, you still have to bet a few dollars, but be careful.
One more look out of the gate. Sagamore Mischief, Jose Lezcano on the 6th, hustling to get forward and outduel that 5 horse.
You could see he was intent. He was not going to take a backseat to anybody. Horse coming out of a sprint, he sent, made the lead. Listen, give Romero Mirage credit as well. He sent. He just didn't have as much natural speed as the 6 Sagamore Mischief, who I just think was heavily aided by the racetrack, and that's why I landed there. This race to me was a real handicapping puzzle. The track led me to it.
But Andy, days like this too, I mean, you kind of live for days like this a little bit, don't you? Where you can, no?
No, because I find that you're sometimes at the mercy of the way riders ride. And for me, I like these days because they produce bet backs going forward or bet against. A horse has an exaggerated performance because the racetrack helped them, or a horse that just had no chance because the racetrack was playing. So for me, yeah, if you find a price horse, you think this horse is going to get in front, that's great. Take a shot. But in general, I mean, are you so confident who's going to be in front in race number 7? The 2 could be the speed.
Well,
Print Rack's probably the speed.
Print Rack looks like the speed.
But are you going to see Koa? Are you going to see riders be more aggressive with their mounts because of the way the track is playing?
But the payback is a month or 3 weeks, a month from now when these horses run back.
Man, it's a long game. It's not a sprint, my friend. It's a marathon.
Now, 3-1 in that race, not bad at all on a horse who looked like he's going to be forward, cutting back to sprinting indeed. Tried a test on the road to that first Saturday in May, but Kale's Angel now back to where he won a stake at Oaklawn in a sprint in the Renaissance later today. Back with you on America's Day of the Races here on our Fox Sports 1 coverage. Of course, you can play all the action at Naira Bets. Go to nairabets.com, get signed up and started. We saw this one go gate to wire and never look back. Sagamore Mischief on the stretch out the win. Gustavo Rodriguez winning trainer, Novak Stable winning owner, and Jose Lescano aboard for the victory.
And another thing I would say to people about biases, when you get an extreme bias, and this is one that's unusual, I think we all kind of agree it's more speed than necessarily inside, you'll see exaggerated results. And we're seeing that in races, horses winning by 5 lengths like this. And of course, when they come back, you have to be careful about how you judge them because they will not often run back to these races.
Point. 7th race, 6.5 furlong sprint, first level allowance condition, and we talked briefly about it a moment ago. The speed of this race appears to be the 7, Print Rack, who's 6-1 right now.
and got Romero Mirage, and it'll be interesting. It is funny, and you were in this situation riding, especially because you rode in the early days on the inner, and as we know, going way back, they're often speed tracks. But sometimes you get that big bias, and all of a sudden 6 guys decide I need to have the lead. It's like they're all trying to fit through the head of a pin, and then even on a biased track, the race falls apart, right?
Yeah, because everybody is taking the same shot. But the key to riding a horse with natural speed on a track that is tilted towards speed is don't blink. It's like an exaggerated game of chicken. You've got to be the one that's most resolute and make other guys back off. If you come out thinking, well, let's see how it works out, you're drowned. You've got to come out, I'm going at all costs. You figure out your plan.
When you rode, I mean, obviously you became a rider. You didn't think, I'm going to become a jockey so I can take advantage of track biases. No. How long did it take before it was something that became an important part of your strategy?
Well, one thing I recognized really early on, and I was blessed to ride with an incredible jockey colony, I watched George Velasquez. George Velasquez was always very in tune with how a track was playing. And what he did was what I was going to try to emulate. If speed was good, he would put horses in the game. I was going that direction. And then over time, you kind of start to develop your own way of looking at it. Now, a lot of it is working horses in the morning. It's important to work horses in the morning to get the mounts. You're auditioning for parts. You're going barn to barn. But it's also to feel the racetrack and know how the racetrack's going to play.
We'll get back to this 7th from Aqueduct, 18 minutes away in a moment. The feature later today at Oaklawn out in Hot Springs, Arkansas. The Renaissance 3-year-olds running for a purse of $150,000. And the headliner here, Kale's Angel. Advent winner for trainer Peter Miller. That was his dirt debut when he just destroyed this field, going 5.5 furlongs.
If this was Kale's Angel's last race, you'd say 3 to 5 feels like an overlay.
Right.
But the horse came back and ran going long and ran badly. Now, I'm not going to hold that against her. On the other, or him, he's coming back now 2 weeks later. It makes me a little less confident in Richie.
And sometimes stretching out and then turning back with that quick turnaround dulls their speed a little bit. I think he could be vulnerable to that.
And trainer Peter Miller has bad numbers turning horses back from routes to sprints. He's just 14% over the last 5 years, 127 starters and a $1.10 ROI. For a trainer that wins a lot of races on a stat that works for a lot of trainers, I'm not saying he's not the worst to beat, but I'm a little skeptical.
We'll get to that one later in the afternoon. Right now, race 4, just 2 minutes to post. This race, 6 furlong sprint, lower level, $12,000 maiden claiming race, so they're all for sale, trying to get that first win of their career, and here's Seeking the Game.
Has had 2 chances to show something and is 0 for 2.
The Queen's King at 14 to 1. Start number 2 next door.
Yeah, ran okay against Oklahoma Bred's first time out. Now drops in class, but is that a lateral move? I really don't know what kind of horses he was facing.
Phenomenal Dream. When you're 0 for 18, you start to become a professional maiden. Not a great sign.
Horse that's had a lot of chances, but also has races that make him competitive here.
Dare to Catch Love, 0 for 15.
Well, this horse better stop thinking about catching love and try to think about catching a horse one day.
Mig has this for sure.
I got a guy. Grew up hearing that, a lot of that in Brooklyn. I got a guy.
Yes, you do. Gentle Ben, blinkers on.
I think this is an interesting long shot in this race. Hasn't had many chances and drops down off the layoff.
There's a layoff here and a drop for String Theory, the favorite.
Yeah, all 3 races were good and could improve coming off the layoff,
though. Yeah.
Lord Diamond last time on dirt, similar level. Ran an effort that could win here.
Yeah, the numbers are good enough to win, particularly the dirt races.
Cipriano Contreras, Manny Esquivel, Westeros.
This is my top choice in the race. I like to switch to Cipriano Contreras. I like this horse.
Gino Hollander at 13 to 1. A lot of changes here.
A lot of changes, but it's going to have to change the form considerably. This horse is going to have to improve a great deal on the drop.
Adds blinkers, gets Lasix, drops in class. See what happens here from that outside post. Post time coming up for this 4th at Oaklawn. Let's bring in Jonathan Kitchen for more. And JK, your thoughts here on what to do in this one. String Theory, long time away for the 8, but right now the favorite.
Well, Wolfie, I hope that Ralph Avenue treated you well this morning on the train. Inside joke, New Yorkers for the A train, Ralph Avenue. Sorry if you're not from New York. Look, I think the interesting thing about this is the condition, right? I mean, it's nothing drastic, but it is a situation where if you are not an Arkansas bred, you are in here for sale for $12,500. If you are an Arkansas bred, there's a higher ceiling, $20,000. So they're giving a little bit of an edge to some of the Arkansas breds to enter into a spot like this. And I think it's the conversation, for me at least, starts at identifying who those horses are. The 8 String Theory is the one that I'm going to go with, a horse that ran extremely well. The 8 horse ran well last spring here at Oaklawn Park, but then obviously had a little bit of an issue. But when you have an Arkansas bred, it makes sense to take a little bit of time. Give the horse time until Oaklawn comes back around. There's no reason to rush into a summer campaign or a late fall campaign. Wait until they come back around to Arkansas, because there's spots like this that your breeding is advantageous. So I like the 8 in here. The other horse in here that's taking a little bit of money is the 10. The problem I have with this horse is that when you have a Hall of Fame trainer like Steve Asmussen, who has continuously, at least it appears, has tried to keep this horse away from the dirt. 2 turf tries, a synthetic try. I wonder how well Lord Diamond's actually going to run on the dirt. Definitely an interesting contender, but I think between the 2 of these, I'm just going to go with the 8.
Andy, go ahead, loading up.
I was just going to say, Lord Diamond, it's interesting what Jonathan said, because I agree. While he has one good figure on the dirt, I'm not convinced he's really a dirt horse. I like Westeros, the 11, and I used with the bomb, the 7, Gentle Ben.
Man, certainly String Theory, if he can get back to what he done when we last saw him. That was back in early May.
A lot of
He'll be
TV
a
shows.
contender.
String Theory, The Big Bang Theory. Gentle Ben, I know, was one of your
Ben.
favorite shows as a kid, Richie.
Love Gentle Ben.
I knew you would.
Here we go, our first live action of this Saturday afternoon from Oaklawn Park. Matt Dinnerman, the call.
Up. Westeros. Dare to Catch Love. I Got a Guy will be next up, post position 6. And to the outside post, Gino Hollander. Here's Gino Hollander. Go again. And Laroff. I Got a Guy up on the pace. String Theory quicker, though. He takes control at 1. String Theory clears off, leads a length and a half from Lord Diamond, Westeros, and Gino Hollander stretched across the track, a joint second. The Queen's King racing alone in 5th on the rail, 2.5 better than Gentle Ben, who's on a hold between horses. On the outside, that is Phenomenal Dream, who is second to last, and Dare to Catch Love is the trailer as they approach the 4-turn run. String Theory, the leader here by 2, as everything his own way, and went 22 4/5 seconds. So not a fast pace here set by String Theory, who's given the others something to think about. 2 ahead, Lord Diamond in the 2nd spot. Westeros loses the 3rd position to Gino Hollander. Then comes the Queen's King in an all-out drive. Phenomenal Dream attempting to pass runners. Has 6 lengths to gain at the top of the lane. String Theory off the turn, 3 lengths ahead. Lord Diamond still 2nd. Phenomenal Dream about to get up into 3rd with a furlong to go. String Theory is asked to finish. Has a 2.5 length cushion on Lord Diamond and Phenomenal Dream. 16th left. String Theory still in front, and it's String Theory off the layoff for Ron Moquette, the Arkansas bred. Breaks the bait against Open. Lord Diamond 2nd, Phenomenal Dream 3rd. Gino Hollander was 4th.
Long layoff, but gets it done. String Theory for Ron Moquette with Ricardo Santana Jr. Man who's won 8 riding titles at Oaklawn.
He looked like Aqueduct, Richie, a complete merry-go-round race. It's a shame on me for taking the 11, because he went from 7 to 2 to 2 to 1 last flash, and it's not a price you'd ever bet about.
This horse looked like a winner every step of the way. Broke cleanly, was always traveling under Ricardo Santana, and an impressive win against a less than stellar group for the Son of Cloud Computing.
We'll have those prices when we come back. Reigning champion trainer, one of the best to ever do it, Bill Mott, the Hall of Famer. He'll send out Silo Ridge coming up in the next from Aqueduct. First start since early February of last year.
Introducing a Stallion, as top class as they come. In 22 career starts, he won or placed in 12 graded stakes, competing in 15 grade ones, earning over $1.7 million. His undisputed speed is evidenced by 7 100+ Buyer Speed Figures, a 3-time Grade 1 winner, Raging Bull.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
The brilliance of the legendary Arrowgate and the speed and stamina of the sire of sires, Uncle Mo. Introducing Petulante, the first son of Arrowgate to stand in New York after winning handily at first asking.
Petulante! He's got a kick here, and he's going to prove much the best.
He won or placed in all 7 of his lifetime starts, including the Grade 3 Salvatore Mile.
Petulante, Nimbus class, Petulante!
Petulante, now standing in New York. For information, visit IHDVStallions.com today.
The Fasig-Tipton Kentucky Winter Mixed Sale. The last mixed sale before the start of the breeding season. Featuring racing broodmare prospects, yearlings, and mares in foal to their sport's top sires. Recent grads include multiple Grade 1 winner Adair Manor, graded stakes winners Fastest Flight, First Peace, Leave No Trace, Olivia Darling, and Running Bee. Kentucky Winter Mixed, February 3rd at Fasig-Tipton in Lexington, Kentucky. Where will you be?
Back with you on our Saturday coverage here on America's Day at the Races. Good to have you with us. Thanks for spending part of your weekend with us. Race 7 next here in New York. 6.5 furlongs in this first level allowance race with our Kentucky Oaks prep to come in the Busanda in race 8 at 1 1/8. Here's part of the entry, and this is a horse who's shown a lot of talent for Danny Gargan. Radio Red, been off since last summer at Saratoga.
No, I mean, you have to ask yourself 2 questions. Are you handicapping the race normally, or are you thinking, do I think this horse can be forward? I'm looking at things at this point, the latter. When you prepare for the day, you don't look at races that way necessarily.
Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Yeah, these types of days, I feel like I should just dismiss myself. Throw my notes away, because anything I think about these horses doesn't really matter, because I didn't think Sagamore Mischief looked like a horse that wanted to go a mile, and I don't think Print Track looks particularly well here. But he looks as though he should be loose for Rudy Rodriguez. Now, granted, he's a horse that many times before I haven't been in love with the way he looks, but today it's even more exaggerated, and he looks a bit light. He doesn't look great in his coat. He never has great energy prior to a race, despite being a speed type of horse. But he's the one horse that I immediately wrote in my notes upon walking in here, I just don't like, but he can definitely win, given the way that this racetrack is unfolding. Now, he's going to face 2 horses coming back off layoffs that should be respected if the track wasn't the way it was. But I'll say this about Radio Red. He's not that slow, and his last 2 efforts came in races which featured blistering hot paces, and he is going to have to come back off of a layoff. He is a very robust. He kind of has that Trojan horse physical makeup. He's very round, he's very broad, and just really, really well muscled. Typical of what you would think to see of a 5-year-old horse. But you look at his work tab, and it's kind of spotty. He doesn't work but every 10 to 12 days. And with that being said, it just looks like he'll benefit from a start to get that fitness that he needs to attain. And I get it. It's tough to train horses in the winter here. You're not dealing with ideal racetracks every morning. So that may lend itself to having those, more bigger gaps in between workouts. But again, just looking at him here, he just feels like he'll need a start. Now, weirdly, as we'll take a look here at number 6, Silo Ridge, he's coming back off of a much longer layoff. We haven't seen him in 11 months. But weirdly, he looks fitter. Now, he does come back as a new gelding, so that might have something to do with it, which I like. He's a horse that I've observed in the past just looks a bit, as we like to say, crunchy behind, not moving with the most fluidity underneath of himself, and that sometimes has to do with being a colt or a horse. So coming back as a gelding, I like, but he is also a horse that's going to have to turn back in distance. He won sprinting, so I'm not totally against it per se, but he is awfully quiet here. He just feels like he's going to get a little too outrun early, Greg, on this track that we're dealing with today.
Does come in fresh, though. That's interesting. Off a long time away, could be forward. Let me ask you this question.
He's not that slow.
The way this track has been playing, in a way now, does the 7 become the horse to beat?
I'll tell you 10 seconds into the race. Well, because I'm not absolutely sure he's going to clear, because there are potential other speeds, and I wonder at what point the riders are going to start to overcompensate by the racetrack. But I think that's a very legitimate question, and if you're confident that he's going to be clear, yes, he's the horse to beat.
Yeah, I agree with you, because Tivy can have good speed. Obviously, Radiohead has shown some speed at times, and from the inside, maybe they get, especially Kendrick, gets very, very aggressive. Light the Way has shown speed at times. Air of Defiance. I do know one thing. As your favorite, quick to accuse, closer, I'm trying to beat this one.
He's the horse to beat, but he has no speed.
Here is Radio Red Kendrick Carmouche in a long time away. Could be forward.
Yeah, he's not that kind of speed to be forward. Yeah. We'll see how forward Kendrick is.
Crazy Mason, track we're playing different, might be one of the horses to beat.
Right. The problem, if you like him, is you're getting 1/3 to 1/4 of the price you should be getting because you have the 1.
Here is Tivy for Jenna Antonucci.
Horse that's very fast and in intention. I don't like this horse as a win candidate, but certainly has a say in how this race should be run.
Trainer of 3-year-old of the year Arcangelo fame. Here is Commuted, Rob Falcone Jr.
This horse has some speed going long. See if he could show it here. I didn't know if he's good enough anyway.
Probably the horse to beat on form, but track today might be tough.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of horse I'm going to try to beat on a day like this. He's got the most natural ability possibly, but not the most natural speed.
Lane Luzzy on Beaver State, 13-1.
He's been in improved form, but he's stepping up and facing much tougher.
Here's Silo Ridge, Bill Mott, Lee Einsadler, our favorite, and Jose Lezcano, and coming in fresh.
Horse that's shown a lot of ability at times, but where is he going to wind up early? I think he's relegated to a stalking position.
Here's the speedster, Print Rack, Rudy Rodriguez with Romero Mirage.
I got to think Romero has one thing on his mind. I got to get the front with this horse. If I lose in front, so be it.
Air of Defiance, he's got some speed as well.
Turns back in distance and adds blinkers. Makes you feel like they're going to try to be aggressive with the addition of the blinkers.
Katie Davis on Long Shot Light the Way.
Horse that can be forward, probably not quite as fast, and Katie not the kind of aggressive send-em rider.
And Chipsational, second off the bench, had a productive comeback.
Yeah, but another one. Isn't he relegated to more of an outside kind of trip? And he gets Eric Cancel, and Eric not always the most aggressive rider.
And I'm going to tell you something amazing about this horse, and I always liked this horse. You know, his last win was the 2020 Sleepy Hollow as a 2-year-old.
Wow. Runner-up, though,
couple
on a
times
major prep on the road to the Kentucky Derby.
One of the greatest horses of all time, Classic Causeway. Twice. Sam Davis.
Andy has quite a history with that horse.
Yes, I do.
Along with the man we're going to go to.
But because I think he has great talent, I just don't think he's
It keeps coming up with you and Jonathan Kitchen, who we go to now.
Well, John and I have a little thing about him.
JK, your thoughts on the 7th?
Look, yeah, I mean, Andy almost fist-fought me over Classic Causeway. I think we all know how that would have ended, but he did. He was angry at me, that's for sure. In this spot, I mean, I'm halfway serious. In this spot, I'm going to go with Silo Ridge. And I think that when you're looking at a racetrack like this, that is one that, I think being forward is where you want to be. It's a dirt track in general. That's where you want to be. Silo Ridge has a couple of things that give me some comfort. One, his race 2 back in the mud, looking at the pace figures near the final time, to me, that's one of the best races any of these horses have ever run. He didn't win that race, but that style, the ability to go fast early, which he might have to do because all the guys in the room have an idea that this track is a forward-leaning track, there might be a little bit of a scramble to find the front end. Even if he sits off of horses, I still believe that being forward and having that kind of foundation will help him quite a bit. Obviously, there's a concern, the 343-day layoff. However, one of his best races that he ever ran, and actually his only win, came off of a 111-day layoff, which I think helps quite a bit. I think this horse is going to be tough in here, especially with the ultimate equipment change first-time gelding.
Let me just disagree with JK real quick. That would not have happened because Andy has it in his contract. He has private security, so JK never would have got a punch
I would
off.
have had one of my security people take care of him. In fact, I'm considering that happen. JK, could you get that camera a little closer, please?
6-horse Silo Ridge. MiG 2, long layoffs, and a horse who has shown some tactical speed, certainly. Going to be more forward because of that time away, potentially?
Well, I think he's going to be fresh. So, of course, usually horses show more speed coming off of the layoff. And, he is a horse that can lay up. I just think Print Track's the speed of the speed.
He is, but I think that something that may happen, especially in a race like this, because there are potential forward horses that are contenders, is at some point you're going to get the riders are going to start overcompensating, and then you're going to see a race that's run in a very difficult manner for forward horses to hold on. I'll be interested to see, because this is a race that could happen.
Let's go down to Maggie.
Yeah, I'm going to take Silo Ridge here because I kind of wanted to reserve judgment on him once I saw him warm up, moving better than he ever has. Going back to October of 23, I believe, I don't know, some point, he was a late vet scratch too. So this is the best this horse has moved, and I like the aggressive warm-up that we saw from Jose Lascano with him. I think he looks ready. As I do want to mention the 1A in here for Greg Sacco, Crazy Mason. If we were dealing with a different racetrack, I thought this horse looks better than ever. He ran his best race, too, when coming back off of a layoff last time and turning back in distance. As I just want to mention number 8, Air of Defiance. I really liked this horse last time. He's facing a much tougher field, I think, here today as he turns back in distance. But I don't mind that with him. He's built more like a sprinter, so he now has that foundation of a mile into him, and he adds blinkers. Look for him to at least be a bit forward here as he ticked every box for me as far as the prelims are concerned, Greg.
Thanks, Maggie. There he is. I brought up to you guys, I thought he was interesting too because he does have speed, but coming out of a longer race, just a concern that maybe dulls his speed?
Yeah, I don't like this horse, but I see what you're saying. I agree the longer race may hurt him. I pick Silo Ridge, but at this point, I don't want to marry myself personally, as from a betting perspective, to betting horses I picked before, because this racetrack is playing too big a factor in how the races are resulting.
9-2 on the 7. Print Rack, the one who on paper is the fastest, but as Andy has said, will others overcompensate and try and pressure and be up front along with him? Here we go with race 7. Chris Griffin, the call.
Sensational. Goes in. All set. And they're off. Air of Defiance hopped in the air at the start. Light the way right out to the front, and Shipsational is going to apply the pressure and trying to move towards the inside. Here comes the speed from Print Rack, and these three hook up early. Print Rack has got the rail, and Print Rack flies early here with Light the Way. These two head and head, a pace duel now on the front end. Shipsationals just off of them as a tracking third, and moving forward is Radio Red. Is just right in behind. Now this battling duo, tight hold here on Radio Red. Kendra Carmouche at the rail through a 22.71 opening quarter mile. Less than 4 furlongs to travel. Quick to Accuse is there in 5th. In 6th is Tivy towards the inside. Air Defiance starts to pick up rivals towards the far outside is 3 wide. Then in between horses, Commuted is looking for a seam. Losing some ground with Silo Ridge, the two at the back. That's going to be Beaver State and Crazy Mason. The battle continues up front, and they went 45 and 4. At half-mile time, they've got a quarter mile left to go. Light the Way, and also down towards the inside Print Track, but just waiting for room was Radio Red, who's ready to pound. Shipsational starts to run on as well on the grandstand side. Looking for room in between horses there is Tivy, and Crazy Mason dives down towards the inside with a lot of momentum. Radio Red is in front, but for how long, as Crazy Mason is just passing rivals with that rail skimming ride? It's between these two. Crazy Mason gets the victory over Radio Red. Shipsational, Print Track then came quick to Accuse, and Tivy in 1 minute 16.74 seconds.
Entry runs 1-2. Crazy Mason up the fence. Christopher Elliott for Gregory Sacco.
And what do we say might happen? You see riders, and I credit Katie Davis for being aggressive with a 9. I'm not knocking her at all, but it's just the way things played out helped set it up for this horse. Kendra could not have given the one a better ride. Just the entry mate took advantage of it, coming up the inside. which is probably good as well.
But I think you made just a great point before the race that this is what starts happening. Every rider's paying attention in the room, or most of them. They should be anyway.
It took a while, though, didn't it?
It did, and there were no breathers. Not only was this a prolonged pace battle, it heated up in the middle, and it really set up for a horse to come from off the pace.
I'll tell you who ran very well in here is Shipsational. And I imagine Eddie Barker, who does pay attention, probably told Eric Cancel, you got to be close in here to have a chance. And credit Eric. Eric got him close. He was chasing wide the whole way, and he never gave up. That horse continued to fight the entire way, and he was the most the most forward of any of the top three. Though the one was just behind him.
We shouldn't miss the fact that Christopher Elliott contributed a really nice ride here. Very contested pace, but he was patient, he saved ground, and he came with the last run. This was the kind of ride you like to see from an apprentice. You know, he had to make several moves within the race to help him get there.
And if you like him, you're really annoyed about the entry rule, which should have been gone from here about 5 years ago. Not our fault. We'd like to change it.
Yeah, entry 1-2, alone, either of these two. Yeah, probably a much more enticing price, certainly this one. Crazy Mason, third win of this 4-year-old's career. Up the fence, the young Christopher Elliott, son of Stuart Elliott, who won the first 2 legs of the Triple Crown just over 20 years ago on Smarty Jones. And this young man following in dad's footsteps, off to some hot starts at a few different tracks where he's been, including here in New York. 1A, 1-10-7. Talked about this 3-year-old filly division. We have a Kentucky Oaks prep coming up next here in New York, and the division leader, Sideline. We'll have that story when we come back on our Fox Sports 1 coverage. Back with you on our Fox Sports 1 coverage. You're watching America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part, or you can play it all at Naira Bets. Go to nairabets.com. Crazy Mason with the win with young Christopher Elliott up the fence in the irons. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
I'm pleased to be joined here by Christopher. We were just talking about the game plan that you had. You said, I hope that they would go, and luckily for you, they went a bit. First race on the card.
Yeah, I've been watching the races all day, and really, the times have been not that fast, so it worked out good that they went quick in this race, and I was able to close into a nice win, so it was great.
I thought it was essential that you found yourself from a far outside post over to the rail. How much impact did that have, you think, on the outcome?
Yeah, it won me the race. I saved all the ground on the inside, and it made a huge difference.
I think your face tells a story. Usually we say, clean faces win races, but you told me you almost ran out of goggles.
Yeah, I had 5 goggles, and I was on the last one at the quarter pole, so.
Has that ever happened to you?
Today, it was getting close. It hasn't happened yet, but.
I gotta ask you about, you did a great job yesterday staying on a horse where you came out of the irons, nearly got up to win though. What was that ride like?
It was interesting, at the break, she stumbled real bad. And she kind of hopped back up. When she hopped back up, I lost my right iron, and it was good. She closed really well, and hopefully she can win next time. So
keep up the great work here, and congrats on this win.
Thank you.
All right, Crazy Mason with Christopher Elliott making all the difference and making all the right moves, Greg.
Glad Maggie brought that up. That was an incredible feat of athleticism from Christopher Elliott yesterday. I don't know how he stayed on that horse out of the gate. The horse went down almost to its nose, and he was completely out of the irons.
Out of the irons. He was half off the horse. And I will say something, too, about him. I thought he was pretty lost when he first got here, and he has improved dramatically, and I think he's ridden well.
Yeah, you could see when an apprentice really starts to see a race. I think physically he's gotten a bit stronger. I like what I'm seeing from him. It's always interesting when one stumbles like that, what he just talked about, how when their head comes back up, sometimes they put you back in the saddle.
Our ABR
I don't think this one did. It was weird.
Race of the week next on the road to that first Friday in May for the Kentucky Oaks for 3-year-old fillies. The Busanda, mile and an eighth, $125,000 purse and points to get into that starting gate for this year's Kentucky Oaks. Even money on one who's been quick early with that outside post for trainer Wesley Ward, and won her dirt debut going gate to wire.
And I think the track is contributing to this horse being an overwhelming favorite. While it's early and the odds will change because she is potentially the speed in here, and her job got easier with the scratches to get over from the outside post.
Yeah, but she's also,
and she's
been going 2 turns. So you get horses like My Sharona, who was 1 turn and laid up close. I think she may have more natural speed. I mean, listen, and we just witnessed that it's not necessarily that speed has to win, because I think everybody's a little bit, like you said, overcompensating a bit. But I just wonder, running away 23-4, 48 last time going a mile and a 16th. Do you see that making the lead here?
It's not as simple as just looking. I know it's not. I'm not trying to talk to you like an idiot. It's not as simple as looking at the times. It's because you're never going to have the same fast pace in a 2-turn race as you will around a 1-turn race. Not never, but in general, I don't have the answer. The pace projector time form has the 9 in front. I'm not sure that's necessarily going to be the case. The thing about this track is, and while Christopher Elliott deserves a lot of credit for the win last race, look at Print Rack. Print Rack looked like he was finished at the 5/16 pole, and he finished 4th, beating about 3.5 lengths.
Yeah, he was under
Stuck
a full-out
way
drive before the quarter
than
pole.
he should have.
Yes.
Tells you a lot about this racetrack. This division, completely wide open for 3-year-old fillies trying to get to that Kentucky Oaks this year. The leader, likely to be crowned, will be crowned a champion in just a few days. Immersive. It's even more wide open now because she has been sidelined until the summer for trainer Brad Cox, your Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies winner. Perfect 4-for-4 campaign as a 2-year-old, out for a bit with bone bruising.
I feel bad for my man Manny Franco because he rides her, but honestly, of Brad Cox's 3 serious Kentucky Oaks contender, like a lot of people, I think she was the least likely to win it. I think the horse we saw, Mohima, win the Demoiselle, and I think that Good Cheer, the horse that's been winning at Churchill Downs, I think they're both better than Immersive. Not that she is a deserving champion, but I think these horses are better.
Well, here is Mohima, and she won here in New York in the Demoiselle to close out her 2-year-old campaign with a faster number than Immersive had ever run.
And the same could be said for the other horse who runs 86s like clockwork. She was impressive.
No, she was impressive, and she's got the look of a horse that wants to run all day. This is not going to be an issue. Look how long a reach and stride she has. She has the pedigree. I agree with you guys about Immersive. She seemed like she was the one who's going to have to improve the most from 2 to 3, but what a resume she built as a 2-year-old.
Oh, she is as undeniable a champion as you can find. She won the Grade 1 Spinaway, she won the Grade 1 Alcibiades, and then she won the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup. That's what a champion's resume should look like.
Well, Brad Cox, see if he can get a little more ammunition on the road to the Oaks coming up. He'll send out Sharp Smile from the rail. We'll get back to that race in a moment. Right now we go back to Arkansas, race 5 at Oaklawn. And a claiming race, all for sale for $35,000 here. It's horses who have not won 3 lifetime, traveling 6 furlongs.
I had 3 major players. I think the 11 Without Borders sort of speaks for himself on the outside as danger. I thought Fort Warren for Tom Amoss, who is coming off a voided claim, another 3-to-1 shot. But a horse that's a little better priced now, you might see an odds change. The 3 King Anthony interests me. This is a horse that got pretty good at Hawthorne, and then they tried to go 1 1/8 in Greg's favorite race, the St. Louis Derby, and it just was too far for him. But I think cutting back and coming back, I think if you're looking for a little price, maybe King Anthony's interesting.
I think that's a really good point. I mean, the horse's 2 races, 6 and 6.5, were best performances by far. Okay, they took a shot. Now the horse comes back doing what he really wants to do and dropping in class.
Yeah. Got anything?
Without Borders, doesn't that, I mean, it's a bit of a red flag, isn't it, going in for $35,000? This horse is showing some talent.
I don't disagree with that. He almost like, and the way they claim at Oaklawn, he feels like he's 3 to 5 get claimed from this race. And it does feel a little bit like Peter Miller saying, would you please take this guy off my hands? Now, to be fair, he's an $18,000 yearling purchase. They ran a $50,000 maiden claiming first time out. So maybe he's just being realistic with him. And I mean, he's an 80 buyer type horse, as are the best horses in here. How much are those horses really worth? And Peter Miller wins a lot of races by running his horses where they belong.
And they've won their money with this horse.
Yeah. Well, listen, I mean, it's 2 things that make a successful horse trainer, right? It's obviously good horsemanship, but it's also good management, placing horses where they're going to be able to shine.
And it's a tough situation because a lot of times a trainer's job is to look stupid because of owners' decisions, you know, and sometimes it's hard. You know, you have a horse and you know they should be running for a tag. And the owners get close to their horses. They start, you start to think of them as pets, and I get it. But if you don't run them where they can win, you're not going to win. The worst thing you can do is have a horse who's doing well, and he runs his eyeballs out, his best race or her best race ever, and they run 4th because they were running a race they couldn't win. You got to run them in the right spots, the right distance, the right surface, and a lot of times it's trainers put them in the wrong spots, but also owners are involved in that too.
They only have so many A efforts in them. You don't want to use those A efforts in races that they can't win. They can run that race, and like Andy said, be 4th. One of the greatest piece of advice I ever got from Steve DeMauro when I was a kid coming up was when you talk to owners about their horses, talk to them as if you were talking about their children, because that's how close they get to them.
Because I'm well aware, because of owners who take offense when I don't pick their horses as though they think it's a personal insult. There's plenty of people I don't like that I've picked their horses, and plenty of people I like a great deal whose horses I don't pick. It ain't personal. It never is, and it shouldn't be personal. You have to try to keep that out of. Listen, we all have friends that have horses, and we root for their horses, but you're betting your money, you're making picks. You got to, you know, sometimes you say, listen, I got this horse 3rd because I'm really close to the owner. I really like this horse, but you got to be realistic. And horses have to run where they can win. Is it a knock in the same way with King Anthony that he's running, or are they realistically saying, well, even when he's good, he's kind of an 80-ish buyer horse? What non-winners of 2 other than race am I going to win with him? But then again, he's off a layoff, and they're not even giving him a chance. They're dropping him right in.
Well, this was another horse that was purchased for $25,000 in 2-year-old and training sale. So it's not like they broke the bank purchasing these horses. And you know, the trainer, Armando Hernandez, won last year at a 19% clip. You don't win at 19% if you're not realistic about where your horses belong.
Right. Tom Amoss will be the first one to tell you that. Tom Amoss has, I think, the best winning percentage of any trainer that's won as many races as he's won. And he's going to tell you, I win races because I run them where they belong.
Of any trainer in the top 25 in
Ever.
career wins.
Ever.
It's amazing.
Yeah, the highest win percentage
They'll
of any
send out-
trainer with that number of wins.
He'll send out the 7 Fort Warren, the 11 Without Borders for Peter Miller. He has Kale's Angel to come in the feature. Let's go to Matt Dinnerman.
Refua, post 5. Last one in Without Borders. Market Street has gone in Without Borders to the outside post. Without Borders goes it. We're ready to go. And Larough. Good beginning. From the inside, Ravenstown, quarter horsed out of there to show speed, has the lead. Ravenstown from Without Borders, and also there Go the Distance between that pair. It's going to be Ravenstown to take the lead from Go the Distance and Without Borders side by side. K Crown and King Anthony, they're next. They're 2 lengths off the pace, another 2 lengths back to Feathers Road, Market Street, and on the outside, Reeled In is right there. 2 more to Refua. Fort Warren second to last while being encouraged to pick up the pace, and League of Legends is the trailer as they sail into the far turn. Ravenstown the leader with 3 furlongs to go. Without Borders getting closer and going well Without Borders around the turn. Without Borders comes looking for the lead. Ravenstown right there with him. Go the Distance sent along. K Crown getting closer on the inside while pumped upon, but he is advancing position at the top of the lane. Ravenstown off the turn now. Without Borders has been asked for his best, but Ravenstown is something for the final furlong. Ravenstown holding off Without Borders at the moment. Here comes Refua on the outside, and Refua is making good strides down the center of the track. Refua and Isaac Castillo with a 16th to go have taken over, and it is Refua to win it. Refua, length and a half clear. League of Legends second Without Borders in the photo for third with Ravenstown and Go the Distance.
A horse who has frustrated a lot of horse players in New York, all of us included here on the desk. Refua, 2 for 32. Lifetime coming in. Tries Oaklawn for the very first time and collects his 3rd career win.
I think we're all laughing up here because when we went off the mics, we were all talking about, oh, Refua's in here. Well, Richie and I both said at the same time, he Refua's to win. Well, he didn't Refua today, Rich.
He got pace to run at. I think he made the lead before he even realized those other horses had started to tire inside of him. And the New York bred Refua found a home in Arkansas.
Back to New York and on the road to this year's Kentucky Oaks for 3-year-old fillies. Here is a look at Ramify, who was a winner first time out for trainer Chad Brown, owned by Juddmonte. 7-2 right now as we head downstairs to Maggie.
And Greg, for this Busanda, we'll see 2 fillies actually trying Stakes Company in just their 2nd start off the back of those maiden breaking voyages. And taking a look, as you were just mentioning, Ramify in here. I feel like Richie can probably speak a bit more in depth about what he saw of her first time compared to this time around. But what I'm observing here is a really athletic type of filly, and she's so strong. I mean, she's definitely the strongest filly in here. Now, is she ready to go 9 furlongs right off the back of the mile victory? I mean, you know, given the way that she finished that race, given you know, just the overall style in which she did it, yeah. But let's not forget she's a daughter of Munnings, and while he can get a horse virtually to do anything, she's not necessarily built like your quintessential 2-turn kind of more classic distance type of filly. I respect her. I like her. She makes an excellent impression here. But there's some doubt in my mind about her automatically getting 9 furlongs right off the back of that maiden breaker. Now, number 6, Ruth, she ran pretty slow first time out. But, you know, I thought it was maybe a better performance than what it might look like on paper, but then again, she could have just been facing some less than talented runners that day, in which she was 3-5. She kind of went forward at the break, then she was taken in hand through slow fractions and kind of got shuffled back around the turn, circled the field, and got up just in the shadow of the wire. The 2nd place finisher would come back to improve her buyer with a 69 and winning. But Ruth looks like a filly and has a disposition of a filly that definitely wants to go this distance, and I think Todd Pletcher most accomplished of the trainers in getting them to go those longer distances. Am I thrilled with either of these fillies trying to do it in only their 2nd starts? No, but again, I do respect them. But the horse that might have the most advantageous style, the body of work coming in here, lies with number 9, Running Away. Weirdly, the first time I'm seeing her, though she has run at Naira before, finishing 2nd first time out to Virgin Colada after setting the pace on the turf. But she broke running with her ears up first time on the main track, looked like she was loving life out there. And when John Velasquez set her down in the stretch, she had more. She extended her stride and she kicked on. She definitely wants every every bit of 9 furlongs and the rest. She's so long and sinewy looking and incredibly fit. You know, Wesley's horses are ones that always carry a lot of conditioning. Not her. She is very, very fit. So I think she is one that is really, really dangerous. The board would say so as well, Greg.
Has that speed. Dirt debut, only start on dirt, gate to wire winner as we see riders up.
And we're seeing Wesley with routers. We always, you know, Wesley, it's not that he didn't win routes. He very rarely ran in routes.
Yeah.
And he's got that nice New York bred, and he's got this horse as well. I think we need to talk a little bit about Ruth here because she comes out of a maiden win at 3 to 5. It's a very odd race if you watched it, in that she broke on top, just sort of dropped out of the race. I just have trouble endorsing a horse that's that slow from a speed figure standpoint.
It just felt like a slow race, right?
I thought it just collapsed at the end.
Sharp Smile. We talked about Brad Cox and his soon-to-be champion Immersive off the trail for the Oaks. Sharp Smiles won last time out. We'll see if he can add to that depth.
I'm not as sure she's as fast as a couple horses towards the outside, but you got to think Manny's going to go from the inside.
Beautiful Bloom comes in for her 3-year-old debut.
Yeah, one try in New York left a lot to be desired. Would have to improve.
Chad Brown and Juddmont with Ramify.
Yeah, I mean, she's going to need some help up front, and she's got some talent, but the track may not help her.
Todd Pletcher, Hall of Famer, with Ruth, start number 2.
Yeah, again, just felt like kind of a slow race. Not that she can't take a step forward and improve.
My Sharona, she showed sprint speed in the debut.
I think she's going to be forward. Whether or not she's in front, I don't know. And at 7 to 1, I'm in.
Still a maiden, but barely missed against Ramify last time out. And then running away, again, dirt debut for Wesley Ward, gate to wire win.
I love seeing these TNT stud horses run because they bought the silks from Calumet. And I just love seeing those devil red silks, the old Calumet silks. Richie and I are old timers, unlike you, Greg. We remember Calumet in the heyday.
Yeah, but I hear about it from you guys, so it feels like I was there constantly, usually when we're on the show together.
Our Mims, Tim the Tiger.
Ruth at 9 to 2 for the Hall of Famer Todd Pletcher. So here's this race you were talking about.
It's, to me, I think, I'm not going to be shocked if she turns out to be a lot better than that figure. It's just her first start. But I think this is a race that just kind of came apart at the end, and it makes her look like she was closing into it because the whole field was coming together, Richie.
You know, the one thing that's interesting, though, right, is that she was a very heavily bet favorite on debut.
And not a speed.
And, you know, that leads you to believe that she had shown a lot of ability in her morning trials, and she did come with that kind of relentless one-pace grinding run, which I don't think will play well today, but with a race under her belt, maybe she takes a big step forward.
I don't agree. I don't disagree. She doesn't have the right running style for this racetrack. The other thing that, for better or worse, I'm not saying I know this means a lot. This is not one of those $600,000 Todd Pletcher purchases. This is actually a homebred for whatever it's worth. Now, obviously has some pedigree. I'm just a little bit skeptical, and I think if you like her, you can't be heartened by the way this track is playing because it's not going to flatter her running style.
So the 7, certainly the 9, and then Sharp Smile, the one from the rail. Those look like the 3 that want to be forward, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
agree. And I think it'll be interesting to see if they are willing to let the 9 clear if she's really fast enough to do it. Now, I'm not saying she has to clear to win, but it certainly would help her cause.
JK, your thoughts here on this Busanda on the road to the Oaks?
Yeah, look, I mean, the 7 My Sharona is going to be going a little bit further than ever has before. But I will say this. When you look at a horse like this, and you look at a racetrack like we're dealing with today, you feel a little confidence when you look at the rider and you see a rider who's aggressive. You guys were talking about it earlier on the show that Romero doesn't take speed away from his horses. You also see a trainer in Ray Handel who doesn't take his speed away from his horses. And in a situation like this, a lot of times, like Andy said, when you have a racetrack that's like this, it's hard to play off of it because you still don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if the riders are going to make the front, you know, who's going to make the lead. I feel very confident with those connections, with this horse's pace figures. I feel very confident that My Sharona is going to find himself on the front end. And as long as Maggie doesn't tell me anything I don't like about the 7, it makes a ton of sense to me at 6 to 1. Mags?
JK, I think you're crazy taking this one. No, I'm kidding. I'm absolutely kidding. I actually got to speak to Ray Handel, and I asked him because watching that last race with Ramify and My Sharona finishing second is that I thought maybe she got a little lost. You know, she hit the front a lot earlier than Ramify, and when Ramify went by her, she kind of re-engaged a bit, and I said, do you think she got lost? Are you looking to kind of time things a little bit better? And he said, no, I actually think she's just a bit more one-paced, and that the 9 furlongs should really aid her cause, but also hinting at the fact of doing exactly what JK had just said in being aggressive and getting my Sharona out towards the front end. I can say this is by far now in her 3rd start. She'll look to break her maiden in big style here. The most fit she's looked and the most focused and relaxed. So all good things for her trying this distance for the first time. Quickly with number 1, Sharp Smile. She's a daughter of Practical Joke. I'm not in love with her going longer. She looks tremendous for the Brad Cox barn, but I just am not totally sold on the 1 1/8 for her, Greg.
Maggie, thank you. Torpedo Anna, your Kentucky Oaks winner last year, soon to be named, we all believe, the Horse of the Year. After that sensational performance she put together from start to finish in 2024, this race, our first prep here in New York, on the road to this year's Kentucky Oaks. The favorite outside, running away for trainer Wesley Ward. Dirt debut, gate to wire win easily by 5 lengths. That was in Louisville at Churchill Downs. Now comes her stakes debut here in the Busanda. Let's go to Chris Griffin for the call.
My Sharona. Running away. The 52nd running of the Busanda. All set. And they're off, and Ruth stumbled badly at the start. Ruth with an odd beginning, and Ruth is 4 lengths the trailer. Here is Running Away towards the far outside, is going to cross over, but holding that rail position is going to be Sharp Smile, and these two move quickly up top. Running Away is on the engine, is up by 1.5 lengths. Right there towards the inside is Sharp Smile, is ready to challenge, and My Sharona is going to hold that 2nd position now, is stalking in the orange cap. The runaway leader is Running Away. 23-4 for that quick opening quarter mile. Running Away has the lead, takes him to the back stretches, up by 1.5 lengths. My Sharona, Romero Mirage is in pursuit, is a clear 2nd at the rail. Now a bit more. Calm down, there is Sharp Smile from 3rd. Ramify starts to move forward from 4th, and from the back after the beginning, Ruth is on the move, is in 5th. The trailer, Beautiful Bloom. They work up the backstretch here in the Busanda, and Running Away controls the tempo. My Sharona, with a perfect trip so far, is stalking the pace setter right there as they approach a half-mile left to go, and at the rail comes Sharp Smile. Manny Franco just saving ground towards the inside and moving forward in behind the leader, Running Away. Ruth starts to make up some ground, is now taken 4th. Ramify is in 5th, and the trailer continues to be Beautiful Bloom. They're well into the far turn now, and Running Away is trying to do it all the way. It's Running Away who's up by a 1/2 length. My Sharona's ready to challenge, now gets the cue, has been stalking the pace setter throughout. My Sharona's called upon for her effort, but it's still Running Away who is well clear. Running Away is finding more. Continue to chase is My Sharona down the center of the racetrack, and Sharp Smile. Ramify has got a mild rally, but it's still Running Away, still up by 2. Running Away controlled things up top. My Sharona's giving game chase down towards the inside. Sharp Smile, a 16th left to go. Running Away. Sahin Savachi, they win the Busanda. Running Away wins it over My Sharona, then came Sharp Smile and Ramify in 1 minute 52.23 seconds.
Running Away, Connections knew they had to get to the front, and they did. Manny Franco tried with Sharp Smile. Not quick enough. This filly goes gate to wire.
23 4/5 is quick for a 1.125 around here. She's quick, this horse. Bad stumble by the 6. Now, obviously, that didn't really affect things, that she wasn't going to be forward. How much it affected her chances, I don't know. This was a complete merry-go-round, and my question, and I'm not knocking this filly, she's obviously talented, but my question for everybody here, for everybody really in the show, what do you do with her next time? Do you think she's a horse now that's a little dressed up because she got on this racetrack? But it's not like she doesn't have credentials going in, but how much the track help her? The horse that I'd be interested in is the 3, who was completely and totally compromised by the racetrack.
Yeah, I mean, she just has no
She's
speed
better
to
than
3
that.
Ramify, and she tried to rally. You could see turning for home there. She's covered in mud and just kind of ran one pace. My Sharona tried every step of the way, but Running Away I was very impressed with this rider, Saheen Savachi, leading rider in Canada, applying his trade here this winter. He has made a lot of right moves. He's strong. He looks good finishing. He was on the best horse, and he took no prisoners.
He's a rider who came in here without really a lot of fanfare, though he's expected to win the Sovereign Award up in Canada. I heard from my friend Jeff Brad, who works at Woodbine, and he has turned a lot of heads with his riding. This guy can flat out ride, and I'm not sure this guy can't stick around and win races here when the big guns come back to town.
So 2 starts on dirt, 2 gate-to-wire wins for running away. Points now to get into the starting gate for the Busanda. But again, and before you get too excited, take this performance with a grain of salt, the way the track's been playing. We'll see if this one can continue to develop and put forth this kind of performance on a racetrack that's a little more fair.
I don't want to knock her in any way. I'm just wondering, what you do with that. And I know one thing, Richie, when's the last time, who was the last good horse that wore those silks? I know, because you rode a horse that beat him. Not a Calumet.
Criminal type?
No. Who? No. Leroy Adamo was stud, was TNT stud, and he won. And of course, Artie Schiller, who you should have been on, beat him, ran him down, and beat him in the Breeders' Cup Turf Mile.
Yeah.
Right? He's the last top horse, I think, that wore
had
these silks.
foot problems, didn't come into the race great, but Artie got his trip. Artie was tremendous.
He overcame
talent.
You in how many races? I mean,
like 6
not
on
too
him,
many
so
horses can say that.
And Jimmy Jerkins announced he's coming back to the States after
We're going
March.
to talk about that a little bit later and bring up one of your favorite horses that you should have ridden for Jimmy.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. That's still to come, Mick. 3-2 winner of this Busanda on the road to that first Friday in May. It's running away. Wesley Ward, Saheen Savachi, stud TNT, gate to wire for the win. Going 1 mile and an eighth. Prices when we come back.
Idiomatic in front, 16th to go in the Juddmonte colors. Florent Giroux aboard. Idiomatic to win the Grade 1 Juddmonte Spinster.
Idiomatic is taking the lead. Clarion trying to squeeze through, but it's going to be Idiomatic to win.
And Idiomatic just opens back up here with every stride. No catching. Idiomatic winning the Juddmonte Spinster for Florent Giroux.
Curlin, the classic sire.
Enhance your handicapping with AI Fast Facts, exclusively on NyraBets. Open your NyraBets app, click View Runner Details, and a stat-driven fact will appear for all U.S. Thoroughbred racehorses. Download the NyraBets app to start using Fast Facts today.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
It's Mandaloon. A Mandaloon wins.
Back with you on our Saturday coverage on Fox Sports 1, brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. Running away did just that from the get-go. Hustled to the front under Saheen Savachi, making an impact coming from Woodbine to here in New York. Teaming up with Wesley Ward for the win for stud TNT in the Busanda. Let's go to Maggie.
Pleased to be joined here by rider Saheen Savachi. And Saheen, we knew that running away had speed, but the outside post did you no favors. But with the stumble of the one, you really seized the bull by the horns.
That's right. You know, I had the outside post. I didn't mind it because it was a short field. It was just about to keep her in front with good fractions, and she did all the running.
She looks so comfortable out there. I love when a horse gets to the lead and throws their ears up like she did.
Yeah, you know, she's Wesley Ward's horses are pretty nice, and she's professional.
We see you come here to Aqueduct for the last month or so after a huge year up in Woodbine, winning the meet title there, the year title, riding title. Talk a little bit about your future plans, because you're also impressing a lot of people here, multiple win days.
Yeah, you know what, my time here has been great. I've had a lot of good opportunities so far, and you know, I can't say for sure. It's still early, so we'll see.
Keeping us on the edge of our seats of where you might be next, eh?
That's right, yeah.
Well, keep up the great work. Congratulations with this Busanda win.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, Sahin Savachi adding to the tally that he's already established here at the Big A. Craig?
Talented rider making a big impact here in New York in a barn that, we touched on it briefly. More well-known for winning first time out with 2-year-olds. Might have a contender now in this trail to the Kentucky Oaks.
It'll be interesting to see, with Wesley, because he's just, can you remember him ever having a good distance horse?
I can't. Well,
a lot of good sprinters.
I guess Next was a good distance horse. You just didn't realize it, right? Or is it,
All right, all right. That's my territory, insulting people like that.
I'm not
Richie,
trying to
yours.
insult them. I'm
You're
just
the nice
saying.
guy. I'm the
Decent.
jerk, Richie. Stop stealing my thunder.
Decent New York bred filly, who's pretty talented, going a little bit longer. We saw win at Saratoga this summer.
Yeah. We were talking about her before. She won the Fleet Indian.
Yeah.
Beat Dolomite.
Race 9, closing things out here in New York. 6 furlong sprint, New York breds. $25,000 maiden claiming race, so all for sale for that price. And certainly the 4 Whiskey Friends, because of the barn, because of the class drop, it's going to get a lot of attention for Rick Dutrow Jr.
And this is a horse according to time for base protector could be in front as well, which would make him doubly tough in here. The 1, 7, and 12 aren't covered in the pick 6, so in all likelihood the pick 6 will be hit. And if you're alive, we wish you the best of luck.
And we talked about it off air briefly. The 7, one who potentially could get to the front in this last race. We'll talk more about that when we come back. Finale ahead from New York. We still have the feature, the Renaissance, and Kale's Angel to come from Oaklawn. Stay with us here on our FS1 coverage. Back right after this. Back with you on our Saturday coverage, and we head back to Hot Springs, Arkansas. Race 6 at Oaklawn starts the late pick 5 sequence. Maiden optional claiming race. About half the field, I should say, up for sale in this race. And the favorite right now, modest favoritism to the 10 Magic Mover for Brad Cox. We start with Pride's Prince. New Gelding gets Lasix.
I mean, this is a horse that's run figures that are fast enough and comes off a little freshening. I think it's definitely a player.
Risk Factor next door, start number 2.
Flash Speed going longer at Gulfstream gets Lasix. Mark Cassie having some meat there.
First-time starter for Ron Moquette.
We're 10 1/5 of the 2-year-old sale for what that's worth, taking no money.
Bold Exchange at 9-1 here gets Lasix.
Showed really good speed on debut, and actually I thought hung in there pretty well.
I thought this horse got a rough trip and is very interesting here.
Putting Eagle, ever been in that position?
Yeah, at mini golf.
Blinkers on in Lasix.
Of course. I think this horse a little overbet, not impossible. But
67 Mustang first-time starter went by.
Yeah, more turf pedigree. Bacoma, though.
Trusted Image will cut back in distance.
Cutting back in distance just feels like got to get a little faster.
Speed early in the debut and then backed up Covert Law.
Looks like the speed of the speed for what it's worth.
It took a little bit of money first time out. Yep. Here's Magic Mover, the favorite. Brad Cox.
Yeah, didn't have a very good beginning and middle moved and flattened out. Should take a step forward.
Quality Style, another one who showed some speed in the debut and backed up.
A lot of these horses coming out of the same race, that whole Jerry race on December 7th, and this one had speed, as you say. I think Magic Mover had a little trouble at the start that hurt.
And first-time starter for Ken McPeak with Julian Leperoux, First Division debuts.
Taking some money. I like the work tab. Thanks a bunch of steady 5-furlong workouts.
This horse is bad, huh?
Yes,
to be 5-1 and a lot of horses looked. I mean, I will say there's nobody in here that's run that fast that anybody should be in a huge surprise. I'm going to bet the 4 in this race. I am definitely betting on this horse. I thought this horse ran fast enough from a speed figure standpoint, and this horse had a trip, broke well, and I like the rider switch.
Meanwhile, favorite as we go to Jonathan Kinchin. It's Magic Mover, JK. What do you like about this Brad Cox runner?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those situations where, well, first, one of the things I like is that, what you said, he's trained by Brad Cox. Brad does a great job with these types of horses. It's the focus of his program. And it's a horse who took some money on debut, and I thought ran pretty well considering, probably not as well as the people who backed him to 5-2 that day. But the race kind of fell apart, and this horse was the one, in my opinion, who kind of broke the race wide open. He made a rush, found the front end, and then just got a little tired late. One of the things with Brad's horses is they're going to probably continue to improve, especially with more foundation, especially the way that they run. I'm just hopeful that he'll take another step forward. And as I looked through this field, there wasn't a lot in here that got me excited outside of maybe the 5, Putting Eagle, who I thought was at least a little bit interesting. But this is a horse that just never really run it all. He's got okay numbers, but he's just always kind of out the back. So for me, I landed on the 10 here. It's not the most proud opinion I've ever had in my life. It's just where I ended up in a spot like this. I'm going to go with the 10 Magic Mover, making his second start.
So this is a big story. It's only because of how successful and what a great trainer he is, and he's one of the best in the sport. But Brad Cox, shockingly, still has not won at this meet at Oaklawn. He is 0 for 21 coming into today.
I printed these PPs on Sunday, and he was 0 for 21 at the meet. He may have had some losers since then, and it is a story. I agree. You've got a trainer that wins 20 to 25% of the time. He runs a lot of live horses, and he has not won a race. I do think he had a bit of a trip, had some trouble at the start, but this horse just sort of fits on figures with everybody here. There's a lot of contenders here.
Yeah, I mean, I do think the horse had a compromised beginning, and I think showed some run. That can't last. Brad Cox is too good at what he does.
I agree, but I think historically his numbers at Oaklawn are often not as good as they've been at some other racetracks. Let's face it, Oaklawn is a tough place to win. They're very popular. The racing is incredibly competitive. I have never consistently handicapped so many big fields where I feel like 7 or 8 horses. I mean, you look through, you'll see 7 or 8 horses are running the same buyer figures. It's super competitive. The money's great there, but it ain't easy. They're not giving anything away down there.
We've said it before, Megan. How do you feel? I think it is the toughest track to handicap in the country.
Well, you always have these big fields right there.
Which is a good thing.
Which is a great thing.
Oh, no, it's opportunity.
And horses coming from so many very, different jurisdictions. It's just a really tough place to handicap.
I think, like anywhere, as much as anywhere, you have to be willing to sort of hunt around for horses that you think are contenders that are decent prices because of how competitive the racing is. I don't need 3-to-1 shots too often down there. And that's why I like the 4-Bold Exchange. This horse, he showed speed from the rail. He got completely and totally shuffled out, and yet still sort of had a little bit more horse at the end, wasn't discouraged. I thought it was a great debut. Gets Lasix for the second start. I think he's a very interesting player in here to price.
8-1 right now.
He'll probably go down to 4-1 at post time.
Drop down.
See you.
On this 4-start number 2. Meanwhile, 5-2 favoritism. Can Brad Cox get that first win of the meet? 0 for 22, we found out, actually, to this point. And, yes, that will change. Will it change here? Let's go to Matt Dinnerman for the 6th.
Putting Eagle. Quality Style. And to the outside post. First Division. Here's First Division coming up to the outside post. Goes in. We're ready to go. And they're off. 67 Mustang had to take up coming out of the chute. From the inside, Pride's Prince is quickest from Silver Falcon, who takes the second position. But look at Pride's Prince go. He's gone 2.5 clear at least from Silver Falcon and Bold Exchange. They're side by side, a joint second. Putting Eagle comes out of the crowd and claims that second position. As I say that, Silver Falcon back in third with Bold Exchange, Quality Style deep in the 5th position, approaching the far turn run. In the meantime, Risk Factor got squeezed into the far turn, dropped to the back of the pack. And midfield, Magic Mover is trying to produce a move, but he's being asked to pick up the pace. He's 3 ahead of Trusted Image, who's trying to make up ground after steadying. Silver Falcon giving way. First Division and midfield well behind, at least 10 lengths behind as they come to the top of the lane. Putting Eagle on the outside to challenge Pride's Prince, and these two hook up, turning into the stretch. It's a match race between these two at the 3/16 pole. Putting Eagle on the outside, head in front. Inside, it's Pride's Prince trying to stick to him, but Putting Eagle has a narrow lead. Pride's Prince not going away without a fight here. Putting Eagle with the lead. Now First Division is coming charging, and he is a danger, and he's going to gobble him up and win it. First Division, well timed by Julian Leperoux. Putting Eagle, second best. Pride's Prince next, and then 67 Mustang.
First time starter for Kenny McPeak. First Division, far outside post, rolling down the stretch to get this win at First Asking.
Yeah, nice job by Julian Leperoux. But the other thing was outside post, he came up the rail. I mean, this is a horse that moved inside of my horse, who was getting a perfect trip and just wasn't good enough. Moved up on the inside. Nice to see Julian get the win. And we pointed out in the post parade, this horse was taking money.
Taking significant money. Got that inside trip from post 12. Nice ride by Julian Leperoux. And this is the kind of debut that impresses you because the horse has to take kickback, come through traffic. This horse, this son of Omaha Beach, showed a great deal of determination today.
9-2. I can't wait to bet against him when he stretched out next time.
Back to New York. 5 minutes away from the nightcap here on the Saturday card at Aqueduct. Again, 6 furlong sprint coming up. And favoritism right now to Vamonos, who was second at this condition last time out. That was a wet track.
Boy, if I was going to take somebody out of his last race, I would take the 6 Cata Dia Major for the Cantermachis, who, didn't really get out that well, made a big wide middle move, and has had only the 1 start, whereas this horse has had 5 starts. I'm not saying he can't win. My problem with Vamonos is he seemed to improve on a wet track. I'm wondering if he was a little better in the slop last time, Rich.
I think it's a very fair point, and this horse does have more chances where you would think the 6 would improve with that run and kind of middle move. They both middle moved, last time. But from a fitness standpoint, the 6 Cata Dia Major, am I saying that properly?
I don't know. I have no idea how to pronounce it. That's Greg's job.
Okay. Is the one that you would think would have the most step forward in them.
A second-time starter, I just think, they're very similar prices, so I'm not anything here. It's hard. Like the 13 is a little interesting, but on this racetrack, I don't like them. I think the 4 is going to go to the front and wire the field, personally.
Again, the 1, 7, 12 all could carry this pick 6. So here's one of them, Waiting for AI, and debuted against Better. And first-time starts, sometimes we just say forget about them.
I have news for them. AI's here. They don't have to wait for it anymore.
It is. Goodbye, Ray Handel. Took a little money first out.
Did take some money, chased the pace, and stopped badly, but does add Lasix.
Vamonos, your modest favorite at 7-2.
Listen, the last race good enough to win here. I just wonder if the horse maybe moved up in the wet off the claim for the Toscanos.
Whiskey Friends for the potent Rick Dutrow Jr. barn. Drops in class.
Has faced some very tough company. Kenny B, Sand Devil, who came back with a very impressive score in his second start as well.
First-time starter here, Jason Jett, Manny Franco.
Taking a little bit of nibbles in here. Was actually down at Tampa, but is a New York bred.
And Manny giving him a warm-up. Manny Franco aboard. Cara de Mejor, start number 2.
Yeah, could improve off of that first start, and the horse showed run first time at this level.
We jump to the 8, first-time starter for Jeremiah Engelhardt, Sway the Jury.
You're not taking much money here, and you'd like to see first-time starters take a bit of money. Tells you they've been working well.
Monte Avi, Kendra Carmouche, New Gelding.
Yeah, well, the gelding will have to improve him. Though, frankly, he's not that much slower than a lot of horses in this race.
Here's a first-time starter, 10-run rule, Chris Engelhardt.
Very slow but steady work tab, not taking any money.
The 12, 46-1. White blue.
Yeah, it was a huge price first time at Laurel. Now cuts in against New York breds, would have to improve markedly.
And yes, certainly on a different kind of racetrack, this might have been the horse to beat.
Yeah, I just worry that his, coming out of the route race, the outside post, is he going to get the kind of trip, and how this is a rider coming in from out of town. How alert is he going to be?
And then 24-1 on a dangerous horse, because potentially this one could be in front.
Well, if the pick 6 isn't it today, it'll probably be because this horse won. He is far and away the likeliest of the ones 3 not covered.
Jose Gomez rides. Let's go down to Maggie.
Yeah, as we'll take a look here at a horse who's dropping in class, the only one in this field, and that's number 4, Whiskey Friends, as he just fits really well with this group. I don't think I liked him against maiden special weight types, but in this field, he should make an impact. His running style, not so sure about that, though, as he does often leave himself a lot to do. He really takes a long time to get into stride. So that's why I have gone to a second-time starter. That did debut at this level, but Cara Dia Mejor for Ilkay Cantermasi, I thought ran well, and he was one that kind of caught my eye, but he wasn't taking much money, and now second start here, just that much fitter. Does get Sahin Savachi aboard. He's nicely on the bridle. He's very focused, and as Andy said, he didn't break that well, but he found forward position. Look for him to break better today. Look for him to be more forward from the start. Now, we'll talk about a few first-time starters. Number 5, Jason Jett, kind of drifting up a little bit in price. He's by Global Campaign. The dam was okay, but she's only had 1 winner out of 3 foals, and that horse won, I think, with like a 35 buyer. Granted, that might all you have to be to win this race. But on top of that, while he looks pretty fit, he's awfully green out there on the track, and he's just not the most athletic type. The first one that I did like, though, whose price is continuing to come down, is number 8, Sway the Jury. Is by Vacoma. Very good with his first-time starters. Goes out for a trainer, Jeremiah Engelhardt. Again, very good with first-time starters. Just looks fit, looks as though he has run on his mind, looks as though he belongs with this group. A little bit of smaller, more unassuming type. Now, the biggest problem with him, though, is the work tab. There's a lot of gaps in this guy's work tab coming in here. But based upon appearances, at least, he does look fit, and he looks like he could have a little bit of early speed, really well-developed hindquarters to him. So he's the firster that maybe I'd be willing to use kind of in exotics, Greg.
13-1. Thank you, Maggie. Sway the Jury debut coming up for Jeremiah Engelhardt. As you see those prices from Oaklawn, first division with that victory, $11.20. Impressive debuter for Ken McPeak, who is looking forward very much, I'm sure, to next week.
Well, I would say she's an imperfect horse of the year in other years.
Talking about Torpedo Anna, by the way.
In this year, to me, she's the hands-down horse of the year.
Yeah,
she had a great year, and she was the one horse that stood out all season. And she was a lot of fun too, and a fun horse to root for. And we got to see a lot of her races. We covered her at Oaklawn, and then of course we had her in Saratoga, and that Travers really was just a spectacular day of racing. And it's unusual for races to live up to the billing the way that one did. And that one was a great race going in, and an even greater race coming out.
Yeah, really, one of those races that we'll talk about years from now.
Yeah, glad you were there. You'll be saying it was just a really fun race, and three with Sierra Leone finishing third as well. Shouldn't be left out. Bit compromised by pace, but he ends up being the Breeders' Cup Classic winner. And, arguably the 3 best horses that may have run in the country this year. Ran 1, 2, 3 in that race, to be honest with you.
And
Them
Torpedo.
along with Forever Young.
That was her test against the boys, and she nearly got it done behind Fierceness and soon to be crowned, we all believe, Horse of the Year. Nightcap here in New York. We're set. Let's go to Chris Griffin.
Last one to load. To the outside will be Play the Gray. Play the Gray. Goes in. All set. And they're off. Off slowly was waiting for AI. In between horses, here comes the run from Monomoy Beach. Right to the front, has pressure towards the outside from Sway the Jury. He's going to be in that early mix too. At the rail comes Vamonos Vamonos, and now in the 2-path is splitting rivals Cada Dia Mejor. 5 of them across the racetrack as 5 wide is going to be Monte Avi. It's a pressure tempo early. In behind them in 6th is going to be Jason Jett, is followed towards the outside here from White Blue, who's tracking from 6th. Then up on the far outside is Play the Gray, making up some ground with Whiskey Friends, just having to steady and losing ground quickly. That was Jason Jett, was just in a tight spot, got shuffled all the way back towards the tail end of the field. Goodbye starts to run on from the back. So does 10 Run Rule, and the trailer waiting for AI. 23.24 for that opening quarter mile. They've got a quarter mile left to go, and Vamonos Vamonos is the leader, and Vamonos Vamonos is trying to run away right now and doing just that. Vamonos Vamonos is waving goodbye to the field right now. It's Vamonos Vamonos up by 6 lengths with a final furlong. Monomoy Beach continues to give game chase here from second. Whiskey Friends from out of the pack is right there with Monte Avi. But Vamonos Vamonos is going to win the finale. It's all Vamonos Vamonos. Impressively. Vamonos Vamonos wins it over Monomoy Beach. Then came Whiskey Friends and Monte Avi in 1 minute 11.62 seconds.
Vamonos Vamonos at 5-2. Able to get to the front. Katie Davis. John Toscano Jr. to close out the card here in New York.
The card ended the way it began. Horses that were forward were unbeatable all day, and these 2 were the first 2, and they ran that way the whole way around the track. The 4 actually ran okay, didn't break that well, and he's a distant third. But best horse, but racetrack certainly didn't hurt, Rich.
No, certainly, having that natural speed, and John Toscano, sharp claim last time, runs the horse back for 25 and reports home a strong winner here for Brand Jam Stables and David Clark, and speed was good. This horse was always traveling.
Yeah. And the 7, who was right there, 30-1. Stayed on the
Whiskey
whole way.
Friends broke slow and actually did good to get up for third with a very wide rally against the track.
And an exaggerated third where it doesn't look like he ran as well as he did. There's no way you could win with that trip.
Peek
no
back,
way.
Katie Davis, and she's well clear. Realizes about now she's going to get a picture taken for this finale. Vamonos Vamonos took 6 starts, gets that first career win, and wins first off the claim as well. So 5-2 over 30-1 with that 7 horse. Monomoy
Beach.
Beach.
You liked quite a bit, Monomoy Beach.
A little surprised Jose Gomez didn't try and push harder for the front, but had to sit off this one. Winds up second. Then Whiskey Friends, Monte Avi completes your superfecta. 3-7-4-9. It's the favorite in the finale. Prices when we return. And as Mig alluded to, he's coming back. Contract expires in Saudi Arabia in March, and that means we'll get to see Jimmy Jerkins return and have an impact again here in the Big Apple.
They come on for the finish in the Pilgrim Stakes. Annapolis by a head.
It is Annapolis in front. It is Annapolis to win the Coolmore Turf Mile.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
Introducing Peace and Justice, new to New York in 2025. A proven sire with over 200 wins, 16% wins per starts, and one of only 2 New York-based stallions to have a graded stakes winner at Saratoga in 2024. Now, with 3 different racing surfaces coming to New York, and with New York breds running for equal purses as open company, Peace and Justice is the sure choice for 2025. Peace and Justice, now standing at Irish Hill and Duchess View Stallions in New York.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
One furlong to go. It's Upland Express. Upland Express with a narrow lead. Fly Down is surging. Down to those 2. Upland Express and Fly Down. It's desperately close. It is too close to call. VE Day late on the scene. Totalist down toward the inside. Coming to the final 16th. It is still wicked strong. But here comes VE Day with a final try. Who will win the Travers? It will be Too Close to Call.
Some big moments in the career of Jimmy Jerkins. Been gone for the last couple of years, training in Saudi Arabia. Contract expiring in March, and he's all set to return to New York.
And unlike a Fleet Express's win when he won by a dirty nose over Flydown, Jimmy didn't have to sweat that photo out because he ran 1-2.
He ran 1-2, wicked strong being second here. I'm so happy Jimmy's coming back. He's a dear friend, an amazing horseman, and anybody that's looking for a top-notch trainer, someone that's in the barn, hands-on, give Jimmy Jerkins a call. I'm sure he'd appreciate the call, and you would appreciate his skills.
If you don't know about his skills, look at the horse that he was wearing that hat for, Shaman Ghost. What a job he did with that horse. Really turned him around. A big upset win when he won the Woodward up in Saratoga, and he beat Frosted. Was an overwhelming favorite at that point, and he beat him after those big wins. But I agree, Jimmy's a friend as well. Obviously, you've known him longer than I have, but looking forward to seeing Jimmy come back and looking forward to seeing him get another chance here, get some horses here, and do what he does best, which is win races.
Met Jimmy Jerkins. I was 14 years old at Hialeah. They were going out to play touch football in the chute at Hialeah. And every day I would stand there, and I was too shy to ask, but I wanted to play football. And about a week later, he threw the ball at me. He said, "Hey, you want to play football?" And we've been friends ever since. Great guy.
Pretty incredible pedigree.
You think?
So to the great Alan Jerkins, and another one we left out who was originally with him, Quality Road, who won a big prep on the road to the Derby with the Florida Derby victory.
He won the Fountain Youth and Florida Derby. It was 3 for 4 for Jimmy. I don't know the circumstances that he lost this horse, Todd Pletcher, but he started out with Jimmy, and Richie, you worked him before he ever ran.
I got on the first time, came back to the barn and told Jimmy, this might be the best horse you've ever had up to this point. He was freakish in the mornings and obviously super talented. His one bad habit caught up with him. He had blown up at the gate as a young horse with me one morning. And then he did that in that Breeders' Cup where ultimately he had to be scratched.
Against Zenyatta, right?
Zenyatta, yeah.
I don't think he was going to win. It's funny with him. And you talk. I've known you a long, long time. I've never heard you that confident about a horse before he ran. And Richie wasn't there to ride him, so he didn't ride his debut. He's one of the horses who won a Grade 1 that broke his maiden on Cigar Mile Day. And I remember he won, and our old cameraman, Eddie, said, I think Jason was with me, and he said, the next day he said, "Oh, Migliori is steaming that he wasn't here to ride that Quality Road yesterday." And then I went, "Oh my God, that's the horse that Richie had told me about. I never knew his name." Beat a horse of Rick Violet's for Earl Mack that finished second. Toulouse-Lautrec was second to him in that maiden win.
Yeah. And you had to make a trip out west to Hollywood Park and wound up missing out on the mount.
Went out to California to ride in the Miesque.
For Kieran.
For Kieran, a nice filly that I had won.
Citation or Miesque?
No, the Miesque.
Okay.
It was 2-year-old fillies. Her name's escaping me at the moment. But My agent didn't realize the stake was on Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, and that the maiden race was on Saturday. So he told Jimmy we weren't here, and then Jimmy gave a commitment to Alan Garcia and his agent, and I couldn't get back on the horse. I was not a happy camper.
As
he was
one could imagine.
A terrific
Yes.
horse, and he's been a terrific sire as well.
Be
and
good
I think
to
a lot,
have.
A lot of people don't realize the role Jimmy played in his career. I
Yeah.
think it's important to note that.
Be great to have Jimmy Jerkins here back in New York. Nightcap closing things out at Aqueduct. Katie Davis, vamonos, vamonos, and go this horse did. 3-year-old son of Volatile breaks his maiden, career start number 6, being forward.
Yeah, it was much the best, but the racetrack has produced some exaggerated results, and for people watching, mark down January 18th, the day where you want to take the race results with a grain of salt, and I think what you'll get coming out of that is some horses to bet against going forward, and some horses that maybe you liked and they were compromised by the racetrack that you want to give another chance to.
They'll present opportunity, maybe to get a horse at a price or throw out a horse at a short price.
$7.20 in this nightcap with Vamonos, Vamonos. And let's take a look at the big ones here. Late pick 5, $7,937. And the pick 6 on a carryover Saturday afternoon, $22,293.
So we had favorites in the 8th and 9th. The 7th race, the second choice entry won.
14 to 1 shot started off the pick 5.
Yeah, it was a tough horse to have, though. I should have bet him.
And we keep talking about, how this, and obviously we've wrapped up Aqueduct, but how the track was playing yesterday and today. I know we just saw a horse in the 6th race at Oaklawn, went from off the pace. Speed has been doing incredibly well at Oaklawn also, so we'll keep an eye on that when we get back to Hot Springs after this timeout. Back on our FS1 coverage on this Saturday afternoon. And in Hot Springs, Arkansas, 7th race is just 3 minutes away. It's a 2-turn mile. First level allowance condition, 4-year-olds and up. And Gunno Paulo Lobo with Christian Torres aboard. The favorite, the 5, blinkers going on. And this is a horse who can be forward, although we'll be shortening up a little bit. We start with Happy Strike from the inside.
Yeah, Happy Strike, second time out off a little bit of a freshening, would need to improve off the win for cheaper.
Stretch out next door for Special Dispatch.
For our friend and colleague Tom Amos, a horse that comes off a nice win going 7.5 furlongs at Delta, which is 2 turns.
Tough to transfer that Delta form to Oaklawn.
Mena, the 3, moves to the Steve Hobby barn.
And I'd like to think he's named for the late Miguel Mena, the jockey, and a horse that probably not quite fast enough to beat these, but not without talent.
Talk less, work more. Apprentice Tyler Bacon aboard.
Making his first start for Chris Hartman. We saw him win with several of these type the first week and getting back to dirt.
He's a crazy price. This is a horse that might be a better dirt horse all along.
I agree.
6-5 favorite. Here's Gunno, blinkers on.
He's pretty fast. He makes some sense. 6-5 is a little short, though.
Mumaya's probably the speed of the speed.
Yeah, I think this horse is the speed of the speed. 0 for 9 at Oaklawn, though. That's problematic for me.
There is Hearn at 20-1, Francisco Arrieta.
Just not fast enough off a little freshening coming from Hawthorne. Has run here before.
Eric Asmussen riding for Dad on the stage.
Yeah, really big effort last time at Arlington where he middle moved, hit the front, and then got nailed.
This one could try and pressure up front, too. Todd Sherrill.
I think stretching out this horse is going to be a thorn in the side of the other pace runners.
Liam's Journey, another quick one that wants to be forward for Mike Maker.
Yeah, showed really good speed, especially last time going 7/8 in a pretty tough edition of the allowance race at Churchill.
And I'm McDreamy ran a sensational effort moving to synthetic last start.
For fans of, what's that TV show? Grey's Anatomy, right? Did he improve stretching out or did he improve getting the synthetic? I think it's the latter, but he ran a big figure last time and can't be completely ignored.
Another horse who's shown sprint speed as well. Minute to post here in the 7th. Starts the late pick 4. JK, your thoughts here?
Yeah, when I saw McDreamy, I just thought about McFlurries, which I enjoy very much, the Oreo variety. The hack is to get hot fudge on it as well. Look, I think in most situations I would have a problem with the fact this horse's best horse came on the synthetic, and now they're taking money in here at 5-1. But I think more or less what happened there is this horse had run well enough on the dirt, sprinting the 2 times prior. And I think what happened, it's more possibly the distance and the style in which I'm McDreamy was run or was ridden. You know, he got forward, he got loose on the front end, going a little bit longer, and I think that was what actually helped him have his lifetime best performance. At least I'm telling myself that while I'm trying to convince myself I should bet this horse at 5-1. Guess we'll find out in a couple minutes if I'm right or not. But I do think that this outside draw, tactical speed, going a little bit longer, returning to dirt is going to hit I'm McDreamy right between the eyes. I like this horse in here. I just don't necessarily trust the favorite who's taking all this money here, the 5. This horse could win. Gano puts the blinkers on, making some changes. I thought if he couldn't win last time, he's not a great bet at even money here today.
I could never take the 11. I think you're taking all the worst of it because the horse is getting bet off a win on synthetic. And he's got the post 11. He's got speed in a race that at least has plenty of speed in it. So, to me, he's an underlay, a bit of a wild card. I think the 4, Talk Less, Work More, is a very interesting horse because it's a horse that spent his career running on the turf, and I'm just not exactly sure why. Because you look at his 3 dirt races, and they're basically all faster from a speed figure standpoint than he ran on the turf. I don't know how he looked on the thoroughgraphs to you, Greg, but I looked at Beyer, I look at the time from US, and he's got him as fast, if not faster, consistently on dirt. I don't know why this horse has been running on the turf his whole career.
His 3 dirt races were very good. But we've seen this too, and we look for different kind of patterns. Chris Hartman ran 2 or 3 horses early in the meeting, making the first start in his barn for Ruiz Racing.
One exploded, and the other one should have won. He got a terrible trip and ran second, I believe.
They ran extremely well. So, I think that's something you got to take a good long look at.
He's not taking any money. Maybe that's a bad sign with Talk Less, Work More. Maybe looking at his recent races, but I just can't. I cannot pass up betting a few dollars at 15-1.
It seems like buried form, and people not realizing this horse can't run on dirt.
Yeah, maybe that's the case. And listen, they did make plenty of money around the turf, so I don't want to say they did something foolish. They did well with him. I'm just not sure that he's not as good, if not better, on dirt.
Meanwhile, the favorite, 6-5, Gunno, terrific trainer, Paulo Lobo. does this horse deserve to be 6-5 here?
Well, he does consistently run numbers that are faster than these horses, and that is the recipe for a short-priced horse. And he does look like he should get some pace to run out. He's kind of a stalker type. I don't know if he's supposed to be 6-5, but he is supposed to be the favorite.
Felt to me like he hung a touch last time, so now he gets the addition of blinkers, which sometimes helps a horse kind of break through. Polo Lobo, for people that don't know him, a tremendous horseman.
He had horses here for a little while, and I remember making a big score with him once. I forget the horse.
Really, really good horseman.
Who was the rider who came here and rode for him? Beato? Beato.
Yeah,
right?
I know Beato.
Really good turf miler a couple of years ago as well.
Yeah.
We're set for the 7th. It's Gunno, the 5 for Palo Lobo with Christian Torres, the one to beat.
And Laroff, I'm McDreamy and Liam's Journey. The two outside runners were away slowly, as was Happy Strike from the inside. Mumayaz had no problems. He's on the lead, showing the most speed today in race number 7. Todd Chero in the second position, tracking. Nina to the inside, scraping paint into the first turn run. Gap of 2 to Gunno. Special Dispatch, they're pretty much side by side. Liam's Journey and Hearn, they're next in the field racing as a pair. Another 2 lengths to Happy Strike. The gray on the stage and Talk Less, Work More. I'm McDreamy. Can see them all as they approach the backstretch run. Over 12 lengths from first to last, swinging up the backstretch, and Mumayaz strings them out. Mumayaz, 3/4 of a length ahead. Todd Chero on the outside, pressing in second mildly. Gap of 2 to Mina. Gunno in the 4th position, 3.5 lengths behind. Another 2 lengths to Special Dispatch. Talk Less, Work More, getting a little bit closer. Passing Liam's Journey, already under pressure. Hearn is shaken up. I'm McDreamy now, third last, passing on the stage, and Happy Strike, who gives way to the back. Remember, this race will end at the 16th pole. They corner into the far turn. Mumayaz still on top. 3/4 of a length from Todd Chero. A pack of runners are closing in. Gunno is being asked for more. Talk Less, Work More easily passes him. He's into third, and Gunno is losing position, and Gunno is done. Not his day today. Top of the stretch here, and Mumayaz has a wall of horses behind him. Mina cuts the corner, tries to pass him. Todd Chero is there. Talk Less, Work More. Far outside. Mumayaz keeps grinding away on the lead. Mumayaz holding on. Mina up the inside in with a shot. Talk Less, Work More. And on the stage between them, driving finish. On the stage with a beautiful ride by Eric Asmussen. Wins it over Mumayaz, Mina. Talk Less, Work More.
13-1 on the stage with a win. Steve Asmussen, son Eric aboard. They get the victory from off the pace, but again, speed still doing really well at Oaklawn. Huge price, nearly pulls this off.
It's amazing how well the speeds hung on, given how quick the pace was. 22.98, 46.55. But a nice job by Eric Asmussen getting through. And Richie, I think we were a little bit unlucky with our 4-horse, who blew the brake, had trouble early, made a long, sustained, wide middle move, and barely got beaten at too big a price.
Yeah, Talk Less, Work More. Unfortunate, just an unfortunate trip, but ran well. This is a really good ride from Eric Asmussen on the stage. Threaded the needle inside the 16th pole and got up. And I believe after the Eclipse Awards are all said and done, Eric Asmussen will be your champion.
Oh, he's the overwhelming favorite for that.
Gets by this 18-1 long shot speedster who was forward. Keep your eyes on the pace, too, here in Hot Springs. But this time on the stage, able to get by him late for the win. Third win of his 5-year-old son of Quality Road, who gets the victory.
Yeah, we were talking about Quality Road, Jimmy Jerkins. It all ties together. And how about the fact that Cash Asmussen was Eclipse Award-winning champion apprentice back in 1980, I believe, 79-80. And now his nephew, Eric Asmussen, is going to be, and I think that's the first time that's happened in history where an uncle and a nephew crown champion apprentice.
I'm still bitter about the 4 losing. Sorry.
You took it well, though.
I did. I didn't bet enough to get too mad. I think we bet the best horse at 15-1.
I agree with you.
8, 6, 4, 3. If we took a break, do you think you could get over it and come back clear mind?
Listen, one of the great things about this game is how tough it is. If you're not tough, this is not the game for you.
And it's tough to have a short memory when you're betting your own money, isn't it? Danny Caldwell, he is very good at playing the claiming game. He'll take us inside how to do it when we come back. Stay with us.
It's America's original sport. And no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you.
An Eclipse champion by leading young sire Not This Time. Up to the Mark made an impression in the sales ring, bringing $450,000. He then left his mark on the racetrack, a debut winner at Saratoga, before compiling 3 consecutive Grade 1 wins in the Turf Classic at Churchill Downs, the Manhattan Stakes at Belmont, and the Turf Mile at Keeneland. Up to the Mark now seeks to leave his mark as a stallion, standing at Lane's End.
Enhance your handicapping with AI Fast Facts, exclusively on NyraBets. Open your NyraBets app, click View Runner Details, and a stat-driven fact will appear for all U.S. Thoroughbred racehorses. Download the NyraBets app to start using Fast Facts today.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
Back on our Saturday coverage here on Fox Sports 1. On the stage, Team Asmussen, winningest trainer in North American history, going to one of the 2 options he has from his family. This time, Eric Asmussen the win.
Yeah, and this really was a sensational run by Eric. I mean, he did everything right. He was a little bit fortunate. The 6 ran extremely well. The 4 was a little bit unlucky, but he really made the difference on it. Just an excellent ride by him.
Love the way he threaded the needle, and he did it so smoothly. And on the stage, well, he should be on the stage in the Breakers in a week or so. Or when
Better him than me.
This Thursday?
Thursday.
Race away from the feature, Renaissance Race 9. That's where we'll see Kale's Angel. Right now, the 8th is 6 furlong sprint. Allowance optional claiming company. And Tiffany Twist, 9-1 for the owner we're going to tell you about right now. Danny Caldwell knows the claiming game well. It's how he started out in this sport back in 2007, and it's helped him win 4 owners' titles at Oaklawn along the way. He takes us along the ins and outs of the game within the game, playing the claiming game in horse racing.
When you play the claiming game, you have to be ready to claim at any time, any day, because you may lose a couple of horses, like I lost one yesterday. Today I need to pick up a couple more. The claiming game is where you get return on your investment much sooner. It's also risky, so it don't always go the way you want it to go.
Made some money yesterday.
Yes, sir. We needed those. But buying a yearling, you never really know what you're buying. You go pedigree, you can go confirmation, but again, you still don't know if they've got the heart, and you can't do heart transplants in this business. Kind of hate to lose the horse because he runs big.
Severe very determined here, and Severe is going to prevail.
When you make $10,000 on the claim and $20,000 on the purse, that's what keeps me in business.
That's winning.
Now we've got to claim something. Good luck, Floyd. We need that horse to go with the one horse to have any shot.
And they're off.
Get out.
Good start for Bayard.
Get up and get a check. Come on.
Big guy Ian Wire. Bayard was next. Good gap back to Mr. Benz.
I had that horse 2 weeks. We run third. We make a couple of thousand. We maybe lose him for 8. I give 62.50, which it really don't matter. That means I'm making a little money. And all right, I got to go look at this horse. I just got to keep reloading. So almost every claiming race, I've got to go look at horses. I'm going to look at Snuggly Bear. I put in a lot of hours. You can ask my wife, Allison. She can tell you all about the hours that I put in.
It is what time, Danny? 10:21. This is a normal Friday night for us. We are watching replays and studying horses for possible claims.
And there's a lot of pressure. There's pressure to win.
He's running over his head way high. We'll see if he levels out down the line.
Well, a coaching career, when you're at a 2A school like I was at Panama, Oklahoma, you coach everything from one sport to the next. I've done that 13 years, enjoyed every minute of it, but just want to do something different. The pay wasn't real great, and I wanted to be in the horse business down the road. I know I wasn't going to get there by coaching. I learned a lot from Kelvin Sampson when he was at OU coaching basketball. I was at a clinic, and he was the one that told me about opportunity. You only get that opportunity once or twice in life, so you better take it when you get it. And so when my brother came to me about the natural stone business to do something different, I took that opportunity, and it worked out for me to start the business and allowed me to get into horse racing. Looking to claim and hopefully up the horse or at least get it back to the same condition. And if I can make the purse money like I did yesterday on Severe, I made $10,000 on the claim, I made $20,000 on the purse money, and I only had the horse 2 weeks. Well, he ought to be fit because we've run him over the track already, so. Now I've got money to work with to maybe get a couple more horses.
Danny Caldwell, this is the one he owns in the 8th race coming up, the 3 Tiffany Twist. One coming off back-to-back wins, and each of the last 2 starts, this one has been claimed.
Yeah.
So a recent claim for him.
Yeah, going for Ingrid Mason and cutting back and distance off the claim. I looked up the numbers. She's 0 for 3 off the claim on a turn back, but they were big prices, so it's really hard to really know. This horse is coming to race in pretty good form.
We'll have the post parade. When we come back, can Danny Caldwell get another claiming victory with a 7-year-old mare Tiffany Twist? And still ahead, Kale's Angel, ready to put that speed back to use in the Renaissance, cutting back off that Derby trail into the 6 furlong sprint. The Saturday feature still ahead.
Most horses retire at 4, 5, 6 years old. but they can live to be 30. Every state that races needs an aftercare foundation. It was all started by Bill Walmsley, so we got together, got with Jennifer Hoyt, we got a website, we got a Facebook page, and we could rehabilitate and retire the thoroughbreds that have raced at Oaklawn.
We started off very slow. I think we maybe had 6 horses the first year we were in the program. Overall, we've probably retired and rehomed over 50 horses. We do ask that every owner that donates a horse into the program donate the horse with $1,000. That just helps care for the horse for the first month or so that we have the horse in our care. Every year we do get some good funding, but it's amazing how quickly that goes during the summer and fall when we're taking care of about 25 to 30 horses. At the end of the 22 race meet, we implemented the Ring the Bell program. Ron Moquette brought it to us. He provided the bell. And so that April, that last month of that race meet, we gave owners the opportunity to ring the bell every time they won a race. And we raised almost $9,000 in just that month. It's now something that they look forward to doing. It's a sense of pride. I'm gonna ring the bell today because that means they won a race. 2 years ago, the HBPA installed an equicizer at Oaklawn, and that's been a huge fundraiser. Trainers pay $10 per horse every time they put it on that equicize wheel, and all that money comes to our program. Each horse has its own adoption fee. We usually set that based on what the horse will be doing in his second career. It ranges from between $500 and $1,500.
These horses have such a great purpose. They want to do something. They want to be a little girl's horse. They want to be ridden. They want to trail ride. They want to event. They want to be a hunter jumper. They want to do something else. And it gives them an opportunity to live a long, prosperous, wonderful life outside the racetrack. But we need that resource everywhere so a person can responsibly retire their horse and have it taken care of.
Terrific program, doing good for horses finding second careers off the racetrack. Anytime you hear that bell ring in the winner's circle, that means money is going to help those retired thoroughbreds. Back to live action. We're going to get to the 8th in a moment. And Sunday, stakes action with the rescheduled Pippin at 1.16 for fillies and mares 4 and up. And Corningstone, one of 4 runners coming back out of the mistletoe on that muddy sealed track. She was a dominant winner that day.
Help me out a little, Richie.
She was very good. We were covering it, and she was able to lay up, in a good enough stalking kind of position, and just was able to draw away powerfully. Now, does it have to do more with the wet racetrack because she does have a really nice record on off-going, or was it she's just in good form? Kenny McPeak got off to a really good start. Julian Leperoux is riding extremely well, and she gets a really good post, right? Short run of that first turn.
She does. She got a very, very, very good trip last time. I think they all sort of combine. When you see horses run to their best numbers, it's usually going to be a little bit because of the trip and situations hung out. But it's not as though she doesn't have a resume before that that makes her a major player. I'm a little disappointed in Tax. I thought Tax was going to turn out to be a pretty good horse. I remember she came back last year and she won that sprint in her first start as a 4-year-old.
Yeah, she looked really good.
And she just really hasn't gone forward, right?
And that wasn't even a distance that really suited her. So it felt like she was really going to go on.
She's really arguably was a better 3-year-old. She just really never really got. She's still a good horse, and I'm not saying she can't win here, but I really thought she was a horse that might get a little bit better.
Yeah, and it just feels like she never broke through. But, it's interesting, right? Maybe she's more of a closing sprinter type, and just because it looks like that, horses change.
It's an interesting point. And the funny thing is there's more opportunities for good money in somewhat softer spots going longer. You just see those more. But she might be a horse, like a 7-furlong sort of elongated sprint might work really well for her. The problem is there aren't that many of those that are stake races, and they're usually pretty salty fields.
What about Tripolina and the impact she can make in the race?
Well, she's kind of a wild card, right? She ran huge first time for Chris Hartman last time, and she seems to be a horse that can handle a distance. She could be a handful here.
I think she could be a handful, too. And you got to remember, this was her first start on dirt. She'd been running in turf or synthetic, predominantly synthetic. And I thought she was a bit unlucky here, and she closed very well. She's already, run well going 2 turns.
I'm looking at her PPs, and I'm thinking to myself, I would have bet her this race first time for Chris Hartman and probably been nauseous. It's a big price that day. She was 10-1.
That is coming up on our Sunday coverage. Monday card, for those that did not know and weren't watching with us yesterday, has been moved in its entirety to Thursday of next week because of severe weather that's coming into the area.
But we'll be on for it, so we'll be covering that card. We'll have a Thursday show next week on Thursday to cover, and it'll be my only day here next week. So you really, especially, want to make sure you
you don't want to miss that.
You don't want to. I'm going to really bring my A game for that one day that week. I'm going out to Florida next weekend and not going to Pegasus.
Okay, interesting. We're going to take a time out. Only Andy Serling. 8th, coming up next from Oaklawn. Probably. Stay with us. Post-parade coming up.
Down, 350. Here we go. 3 here, 50, down 4, 8.5, in the back. 1,400,000 stands way in the back. Thank you.
5, $1,005,000, and $1,006,000, $1,006,000, $150,000, $1,550,000 and a half. $1,500,000. Jody, thank you.
Please hold your applause.
Charlatan, ultra impressive.
It's a new day for a new king.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
Jackie's Warrior quickly in front here by 2 lengths. Here comes Jackie's Warrior up the inside to take over the lead from Life is Good. Jackie's Warrior remains undefeated here at Saratoga, and he wins an unprecedented Grade 1 stakes at the Spa for the 3rd straight season.
What's at stake? $1 million purse. Oaklawn Stakes races are where horses step out of the shadows and into the spotlight, and where Triple Crown dreams begin. The Southwest Stakes is coming. It's the race where the legend of Mystic Dan began.
Mystic Dan is turning it on.
And it's back and bigger than ever. Big crowds, big names, and a big old payday.
Mystic Dan, a dominant win.
This is your Oaklawn.
Back with you on our Fox Sports 1 coverage here on America's Day at the Races, brought to you where you can play it all. Go to NairaBets.com. Use that code BONUS200 to get that $200 deposit match sign-up bonus for new members. 8th race coming up. 7 minutes away from a start, the 6-furlong sprint. We're going to start with a speedster from the inside. Just keep in mind how that 18-1 shot ran in the last race. Almost got it done.
And I will say one thing. She is coming off of her best career effort last time, so maybe she's improving, and she certainly looks like the speed on paper.
Nick Juarez will ride. Yes, second off a short layoff. Dangerous with her running style. Here's First Hill, John Horan.
I think this horse is way too big a price. I thought this horse was wide to nowhere last time and usually shows more speed.
Cut back in distance for Danny Caldwell's Tiffany Twist, who we just claimed.
Well, this horse has been very popular in the claim box, and we'll see how she does as she's coming off. She also coming off a nice effort.
Don't you forget.
Add speed to the affair. You get Ramon Vasquez for Peter Miller. They're going to team up in the stake next race.
It's a very fair price here at 5-1.
Cuts back in distance. Bantera the 5.
Yeah, I thought she's probably a little bit over her head in here, just not quite as fast.
It's the one who maybe can try and pressure that one from the inside.
Lady Dreamer, I just didn't like her recent efforts. She's a biggie price anyway.
Benny K and Susie 2 at 19-1.
Yeah, last couple races leave quite a bit to be desired after breaking slow last time.
It usually wants to be forward, did not break well at all. Paparina at 7-1.
Yeah, I thought she kind of had a little trouble last time and would run better today. She had that look to me.
Hush It Honey, the favorite, Randy Morse, Rafael Bejarano.
Has compiled a really nice record at Oaklawn Park. Some of her best races have been here.
And she had some real trouble to start last time, too.
Here's the 12. Sylvia went by. Music Mistress.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I thought that was you, Andy. Yeah, from the outside, Martine Garcia should be in a good stalking spot.
And getting in from the also eligible list, Lassie, my girl, coming off a huge win last start.
I mean, I don't know what it may. I mean, you look at her, it's hard not to say it was the mud, but my God, she ran a giant 90 buyer. Can she duplicate that effort? She's getting bet like she has a chance to.
Yeah, out of nowhere performance to dominate JK on that wet track last start for the AE.
And it's certainly a question. It's the question that you have to try to answer is why? Why did this horse run so well last time? Why did that number kind of jump up? She, 3 starts back, she also had her lifetime best race at that point. Now, it's not nearly the 90 that she got last time, but it was a lifetime best. So it makes me feel like she's just going in the right direction. And a lot of times in a situation like this, you get a horse who runs a fast number like that. Last time they end up being the favorite, and then it's a little bit annoying to take them at that short of a price. But where she's drawn with her style and the fact that she's 4-1, she'll probably click down one more time, I would imagine, closer to 3-1. I've got no problem taking a little bit of a shot there. You get Ricardo Santana, who I love to see on a tactical speed type. I think he does an outstanding job with horses that have tactical speed. He's aggressive, but also he's smart, and he'll find a way to try to reserve a little bit for the stretch. So I completely agree. This feels like a one-number horse, but I feel like there's some reasons as to why it feels Lassie, my girl, is actually just improving.
JK, thanks. 3 minutes away from this 8th coming up. So 2-1 favoritism on this 10. Hush It Honey.
I don't have any problem with this horse. This horse consistently ran better numbers, and then last time out, stumbled at the start, and really kind of the head went down at the start. And you look at it, I just feel like this horse lost all chance last time out, and the prior races are all make her the horse to beat, and she shouldn't be that far out of it. I'm not saying I'm betting her 2-1, but I think she's supposed to be the horse to beat, right?
Yes, I would agree with that. Let's take a look at Hush It Honey. Back on April the 6th, Rainbow Miss from last year's meet.
Yeah, this is one of Greg's favorite races, the Rainbow Miss. She is an Arkansas bred who's running against opens for whatever it's worth, but she's run well against them. She's obviously, listen, she's a talented horse, and she had an excuse last time. I don't have a knock on her, and I don't really love anybody here, though I think the 4, Don't You Forget, is a little bit interesting. She's got some good turf figures, but she comes in as a decent player for Peter Miller, cutting back the distance.
I think this is a really, really wide open race in a lot of respects. I'm really high on a long shot here, the 2 First Hill. I think this horse last time, coming off a layoff, had excuses, was wide, had a right to get a bit tired. When this horse does her best running, it's when she's forward. You get Dela Cruz. I was a rider I was talking about earlier that likes to put horses up in the game. I don't know if this horse is good enough to win, but 27-1 is way too big a price.
Huge price, and you make a reasonable case. The other thing is, she made that middle move last time out, and I think it probably is a rider upgrade, and she's got back figures to get to that do give her a chance, right?
Yeah, I just at a big price, I'll take a little bit of a stab.
This 7, by the way, 38-1, may not be quick enough to outquick the 1 horse from the inside, but Bullet, 3 furlong move, probably to try and make sure she does be forward.
Boy, I don't think she's faster than Richie's horse, the 1.
But, yeah, Dance My Way at 10-1. Is she not enticing with how quick she is and how good she ran last time out against the next out winner?
Dance My Way. At least with this horse, you're betting her off her best figure, but she's a big price. To me, the 13 is just the kind of horse I would never bet in a million years, because not only, and you and I, Greg, have spent a lot of time in the show talking about one-number horses. At short prices, they're just terrible bets overall, because what you're assuming with a horse like this is the true indicator of this horse's ability, whereas there's a lot of information that suggests it's not. And then when you throw in the fact that it came on a muddy, sealed track, it makes a little bit more sense why it could have been a bit of an aberrant effort. Now, am I saying she can't win? Of course she could win this race. But it's a 5-year-old I'm going to suddenly bet is a completely new horse. And frankly, she's got to be a completely new horse, and I'm certainly not betting her off Evangeline Downs for him. Because one thing we've seen consistently at Oaklawn, the horses that come from Delta and Evangeline, Louisiana, they just don't reproduce that form here. And she's going to have to be competitive.
They do struggle, but listen, the last effort was big, but it was on an off racetrack.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to fall out of my chair if she wins this race, but I would rather book a horse like this.
It's hard to believe that effort we saw last time out, which would destroy this field, that we're going to see it again.
I think that's fair at a very, very short price. I think, does this fall into that kind of category, like, how could she back that up? Like, she's never done that before.
I would also say she did it while sitting on top of a very moderate pace. Now she's got a far outside post in a race that seems to have a fair amount of speed in there. So in order to duplicate that, she's going to have to probably run an even better race because she's going to have to engage from the far outside in a pace that figures to be much hotter. So she better run every bit of it. And as I say this, she drops down to 5-2 in here. To me, she's a terrible gamble. But, listen, it's not like my opinion is setting the world on fire here at Oaklawn today or anywhere. It's not my cup of tea. You and I have been consistent about this for years together. You and I don't agree on everything, but we have generally bet against one number of horses that are taking a lot of money. I don't like to make rules in racing, but in general, those are horses you're supposed to be skeptical of.
That's a pretty good one to live by.
Yeah. And isn't this kind of the perfect example, Richie? She did it under different, circumstances, a muddy sealed track, right?
Yep.
So it's not like it just came on a fast track. It was under an unusual circumstance. So Richie's on the 2. Okay.
So, this is something I've struggled with, Andy, and we've talked about betting strategies with a long shot. So I bet a little bit to the win on the 2, and I bet a bunch of horses over her in exactas.
I fully agree with that. Your biggest exacta should be 10-2. This is there's a very bad advice given out on the internet on how you play these things, and the doc taught me this a long time ago. You have to have a minimal amount of opinions, and if your opinion is you like the 2, it also shouldn't be I hate the 10. It should be I like the 2, and if it finishes 10-2, you need to make money. And I think you agree with that too, Greg. Even if you don't love the 10, you're supposed to make money if it's 10-2 here.
Here we go with the 8th. Matt Dinnerman the call.
One back. Lassie, my girl. We're ready to go. And we're off. Benny K and Susie 2 per usual, showing her customary front-running speed as a share of the lead with Dance My Way from the inside, who snatches a head lead on Benny K and Susie 2. Lassie, my girl, runs in the 3rd position. Don't you forget, right behind them in 4th. And First Hill getting into 5th down on the inside. Sylvia, Hush It Honey, they're pretty much side by side, the 2 grays. Bantera on the 2 path, and Lady Dreamer down on the inside. Paparina gets shuffled back to the second last spot, is about 5 lengths off the pace in a compact field, and Bandera has to steady hard going into the far turn run. Tiffany Twist, in the meantime, is the trailer. They round the far turn. Dance My Way is the leader here by a half length from Benny K and Susie 2, sent after her from 2nd. Lassie, my girl, in 3rd within 2 lengths of the lead. Got a breather, tries to come on again. Don't You Forget is being asked to produce a bit on the inside of horses coming to the top of the lane. Hush It Honey gets to the outside for the stretch drive. Benny K and Susie 2 in the white blaze goes for home. Benny K and Susie 2 with Dance My Way. Don't You Forget on the inside, and Hush It Honey's finding a good stride down the center of the track. Here comes Hush It Honey, and the Rainbow Miss Stakes winner of last year has soared to the front against Open Company, and she's a winner to kick off her Oaklawn meeting. Hush It Honey with a big run, wins by 3.5. Lassie, my girl, was 2nd, rounding out the Arkansas bred exacta there. Then Don't You Forget, and Paparina, who came on late.
Randy Morsebarn, who will send out Taxed, by the way, in the Pippin tomorrow. With the win here, Hush It Honey.
She was just much the best in this race. She stalked and pounced and buried them. 13 ran fine, by the way. She didn't run back to her last race, but she did run okay. But Richie, this was just destroyed this field.
Like Hush It Honey jumped in at the 3/16 pole and just motored down the center of the track under Rafael Bejarano. Yeah, no, it was a very nice effort from Lassie, my girl. Just 2nd best. For a race that seemed to me very wide open, ran extremely formful.
This is a horse who before her last race was continuously running numbers that are just better than these horses. And she had an excuse last time, and she ran today.
10,
Arky bred.
13, 8, 4. Yeah, Arkansas bred doing it against Open Company here. And getting some separation late from this field as well.
much the best. And listen, the 13 didn't run a 90 by her, but I think she showed that she has been improved a little bit. I don't know what the inquiry's about. You guys know?
Do not. We'll try and get that for you.
Usually our producer would help us, but he was sleeping, I think.
4 for 6,
That's
by the
Mitch.
way. Hush It Honey at Oaklawn.
And now there's an objection, so we should be finding out pretty soon what this is all about.
Got an astute crew up here.
It appeared that the winner was clear of everybody. She was out in the middle of the track, right?
It looked that way.
Yeah, I once again, I have no idea.
All right, we'll try and see what the stewards are taking a look at with their view momentarily here.
Anybody seeing a replay of this race know what? Is it possible something happened at the start that we didn't see? Here we go.
So this was the stewards are taking a look at.
Well, now they're looking at the start. I don't see anything at the start that, and they don't take horses down based on what happens.
There's a bump.
Oh, I see. Who is that? Wasn't a 10.
Might have been was that the 8?
Boy, I have no. Probably the 8. Probably the 8.
Might have been Benny K and Susie too. Not too far out of the gate, coming over on a horse. Coming in, I should say.
Is it someone named Benny K, or is it Benny K and Susie too? Best I got.
Things to
Inquiry minds want to know. You know what's really good about this inquiry, though? It's going to push post time back for the next race.
Well, that's just because you want to spend more
So-
quality time with me, Richie. Let's
And
be
now
honest.
the sign's down. So is that it? All right, and it may
So
have
I
have been that issue with the 8, but it short-lived.
I feel less bad about nobody helping us in the truck because nobody has any idea what went on there, so there's no way anybody should have seen anything. But we can still blame
Not only did
our
we
director,
not
Mitch
get any
Levitas.
help, no one even answered us. That's, our crew has our backs.
No, they really.
10-13, 8-4, 3-2 favorite. It's Hush It Honey with the victory. Impressive with this 5th win in 11 career starts. Well, the prices when we come back, and we'll talk first Saturday in May, Kentucky Derby prep coming up this weekend out at the fairgrounds. In fact, in just a little bit. And we'll talk about some recent ones we've seen here in New York as well. Back with you on our Saturday coverage, Hot Springs, Arkansas, and very similar kind of feel to Saratoga. They love their horse racing. It's the talk of the town, and it's all about the racetrack.
It's a really good feel to it. Get that sense of history, and
the Gangster Museum.
And the Gangster Museum. I did that tour.
It's on my list if I make it out there. Hush It, Honey.
We're not letting you go there.
Impressive winner in race 8 here, 3-2 favorite.
Got a good ride here, and once she got out in the clear, that old semi-inside out, not in the rail, but saved a little ground and got out. Boy, she just rolled by these horses. Nice horse.
Man, when she tipped out, right, she really found her stride and just powered away. This was a nice effort.
She's a new Archie bred for you to like, you know? Your favorite Archie bred's retired, and now you've got a new Archie bred to love.
Yeah, I could.
Love the state breds. Love
It's incredible.
The state bred
Yeah,
program
and this was Ant's Open Company, by the way, but yeah, they run for incredible amounts of money, don't they, those state bred races in Hot Springs? $5 for the win. Hush It, Honey. Randy Morse, good to get this W when he's going to have, again, Tax line up in the Pippin tomorrow. See if she can get back to some of her better form. Feature on our Saturday card from Oaklawn. It's the Renaissance 6 furlong sprint, $150,000 purse for 3-year-olds, and I think they like Kale's Angel at 1-9.
What do you make of this, Andy? He's 1-9. Somebody just dumped a whole lot of money on him right away?
Well, I'll you know what? I'll look at Naira Bets, and I'll see how much I can look at my Naira Bets account and see how much money was bet on this horse right now. What are we in the 9th race?
Yep.
She's got 83,000 of 91,000. So right now she's paying 210 because there's more money bet to win her right now than will actually be paid off after the takeout. So somebody must have bet somebody had to bet. The second biggest most money bet is 3,800. Somebody must have bet $75,000. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
Wow. 60, 70,000. I'm assuming it's
tough way to get 10 cents back.
Wow. I got to tell you, I have some reservations. I'm betting on the 7 in here, Wild and Crazy Night. I'm in.
All right, we'll talk more about the feature in a moment. Let's talk Triple Crown Trail. Major Triple Crown prep coming up at Fairgrounds later this evening when we've signed off the air. Let's talk about the path through New York. Cyclone State on a nice little roll right now.
Horse that's got speed, used his speed the right way. Let him use his weapon, and he was very good in the Jerome. I have a hard time seeing this horse want much more than a mile. It sounds like they might be leaning towards going to the Saudi Derby for a lot of money, and I think that's a prudent move.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. It's hard to make him a real Derby contender at this point. He's a contender, but a real horse you would like in the Derby. And it's early, and he can improve. But I think taking a shot at that money, because there's no Forever Young out there that I've heard about. And those are what you're scared about most. Japanese having a horse. Now, I go to my friend David Aragona as my go-to guy on Japanese horses, and he had told me about Forever Young well before the Saudi race. I think he told me recently he didn't know if they had any really strong horses like that this year. And it's a lot of money in a one-turn mile race. Why not take a shot?
Derby points on the line in these next 3 preps coming up. And it gets bigger and bigger race by race. Withers coming up on February 1st, 20 points to the winner to get in that Derby starting gate. Gotham gives 50 points, and then Wood Memorial winner guaranteed with that 100 points to get in April 5th, the big one here in New York.
And hearing some interesting horses pointing the Withers. I know Chad Brown was talking about a couple. His horse who broke his maiden here, I'm blanking on his name, but finished second, the Mucho Macho Man coming. I've heard a few different names of horses coming, so I think we might get a nice race for that one.
Yeah, you hope so. I mean, for years, the New York route to the Triple Crown was just such a strong, we started out at 6.
You and I remember the Swift, Bayshore, Gotham, Wood.
When horses used to run every 2 weeks.
In 6 weeks.
Yeah,
right.
And then the
Derby 2 weeks later.
2 weeks after the Wood Memorial. To give you an idea, won the Wood Memorial on Eternal Prince. The Monday before the Derby, so 8 days or 9 days after that, I went to Louisville and worked them in between. Horses don't even work if they run it within 2 weeks. It's just a different approach.
I just been told by production, no more reminiscing between you two. Smart.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Are you speaking to me? I'm going to have Migliori take care of you after the show.
Cool story that we've seen, and this series. We love this 3-year-old series at Hot Springs, and the way it began. Not a big name, a name that most people don't even know. Probably even in Hot Springs, Lonnie Briley with Cold Battle in an unfamiliar position to have a horse of this kind of quality. Good for him.
And one of the fun things Triple Crown Trail is when you see names like this come out. Nah, we're not saying he's winning it. And listen, there were speeds in there that took back. He got a very good trip. He's a nice horse. But I like it when these names you haven't heard of, and you learn something about different players in the game.
Well, absolutely, and it shows you a good horse can come from any place, and it's nice to see connections we're not as familiar with get an opportunity with a horse that has this kind of ability. Obviously, the rider was pumped up. Looking at him on TV, doesn't seem like a very big individual of a horse, like a big, robust kind of horse.
And went against Tactics, too, was forward, kind of pressed the pace that day to get that win.
Now, is he expected to return in the Southwest next weekend?
No, he's going to wait for the Rebel.
Wait for the Rebel, and I think Patch Adams is supposed to run in the Southwest, and he's got a lot of press. He lost his debut, got a 98 buyer in his second start winning big. I think Brad Cox. I just hope it's not a trend of naming horses after bad movies.
I've heard rumors that our own Richard Migliori and Maggie Wolfendale will be there for live coverage of the Southwest.
Yeah, I'll have to do something about that.
So the Oaklawn's Road to the Derby. Yeah, Southwest, January 25th. We'll have live coverage of all of these. Grade 2 Rebel the 22nd, and the Arkansas Derby end of March.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to those races. They do always have some nice fields for that. And I wonder if Baffert will be shipping in for the Southwest. Imagine the Rebel. And I don't listen to the noise that much. I'm glad that Bob Baffert's back on the trail. The Derby is more fun when you have these guys involved in it. And, you can have these opinions on Bob. Bob's a great, great trainer, and I think the entire process is better with Bob's horses, whether you like them or not.
No, I agree. And it almost started to feel a little too punitive. Like
it was personal.
Yeah, at some point, okay. You pay a price, move on. You can't hang on to it forever. And
he didn't hold on. He hung on to it forever too.
I think a little bit on both sides. And guys, just to follow up, I'm going to drive to Arkansas.
Really?
I'm not going to take it. I'm going to drive.
How's your route? What kind of route
making this life decision
through
right
Minnesota? You're going to go up to Minnesota?
No, I'm going to go through Virginia. Probably stop and see Dennis and Julia Bryda, then up into Tennessee, and then on to Arkansas.
Wow.
I got it planned.
If you like this sport and you've not yet been to Oaklawn, got to put it on your bucket list.
And with Richie going to be there, it just makes it more exciting. You'll be doing some autograph sessions, I assume.
No, nobody wants my autograph.
They want Maggie's, though. You could just be next to her, and you could get some of the.
Maggie should just get like a rubber stamp because that's how many people want her.
We talk about the Triple Crown Trail that's going through Hot Springs, and it's going to be exciting. Obviously, we got one coming up tonight. About an hour after we sign off the air at the fairgrounds. Grade 3 Lecomte, mile and a 16th. This looks just incredibly wide open, doesn't it?
Yeah, and they've got built as the 3-1 favorite. He's got a wide outside post, a two-turn race, and he's not going to get away with the same kind of pace he got away with last time. I'm not saying he needs the lead, but I think he is a very dubious heavy favorite, Richie.
Yeah, very difficult post. You're drawing outside, 2 turns. And there is other speed signed on here. I do think you're going to get a legitimate pace in this Lecomte.
Feels like it.
92 buyer speed figure in this victory, in which he went gate to wire, similar to a quarterback rating, and that's getting into the 90s early in your 3-year-old campaign. That's a solid number.
No, listen, this was a big effort. He also won a little bit geared down. I love when Wayne Catalano has a good horse. He's a terrific horseman, a guy who won a lot of races as a jockey and has won even more races now as a trainer. And you get Jareth Ludbury, who was second in the Kentucky Derby.
Should won. Not his fault. He gave a great ride.
He had to take
two fills.
2 fills. The hole presented itself. He got through. So it's nice to see him back on that Derby trail because he got close enough to feel that Derby. The holy grail, if you will.
He did, and he won the Ohio Derby, which was probably second on his bucket list of races to win. What about Maximum Promise?
Yeah, no, we're not in Hot Springs, but wins his dirt debut. Ken McPeak had so much success through Hot Springs with both the Derby and Oaks winner last year.
Okay to me. This horse, he ran once on the dirt back in August and ran an 83 buyer going a mile at Ellis. He's 10-1 on the line. He catches my eye.
And that was the dirt debut.
Yeah, that was a big effort.
Almost 6 months ago, but.
Yeah, but listen, he's training well. Now he's 3, so that 2-year-old figure should, just naturally get better.
Right.
And you've got the band back together. Brian Hernandez, Kenny McPeak, the Derby winning and Oaks winning duo from last year.
Son of Maximum Security.
Coincidentally,
DQ'd.
Anyway, time for a commercial break.
Out of a Kentucky Derby win.
Is his trainer in Maximum Security?
We're going to take a timeout. Stay with us. We'll be back. More ahead. Yes, he is. Steve Asmussen winningest trainer, North American history. Got a couple of chances at the feature coming up when we return.
Bright future indeed. Bright future, the son of Curlin to win by 4. Bright future, Proxy, here's the line. Photo finish, Bright future.
Bright future, look at that. Bright future, the class prevails.
Bright future, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Grayson Jockey Club Research Foundation was formed in 1940 with a simple goal: to raise funds for research to enhance the health and soundness of horses. Since then, we've provided millions of dollars to hundreds of projects at universities around the world, leading to major advances in welfare. Our process of selecting and producing peer-reviewed research has become the trusted industry standard. And with your help, we'll be here for many years to come, supporting the health and wellness of all horses.
These New York bred foals represent many sires: War Dancer, Salamini, Honest Mischief, Central Banker. But they all have one thing in common. Starting in 2026, they'll be running for the same purse money as Open Company 2-year-olds at NYRA tracks. That's nearly 20% more than they run for now. Learn more about it at nybreds.com.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
I love this stallion barn because this is where we house all of our stallions. And it's a favorite amongst everyone that comes on tour because they get to meet and greet some of their favorite horses that they saw race or are fans of their progeny. So this is Midnight Lou. So these boys are always expecting a mint. Yes, they know when we're coming, don't ya? On these tours. Of course, Loggins is our newest stallion. So son of Go Zapper. Yes, I know. Very handsome, very youthful looking. I like to come when the stallions are coming in from their paddocks. So I get to see them all parade in, and Violence comes in every day, very proud. So I enjoy watching them come in and go into their different stalls, and that happens around noon each day. Violence, I would say, stands the proudest, looks the tallest, even though he's not. If you wanted to draw a picture-perfect stallion, this is what you draw a picture of. He's a beautiful stallion. A little bit aggressive. Clean your mouth out, charlatan. You're messy. This is Charlatan. They call him Charlie in the barn. That's his nickname. So, fun fact about him. Full of personality.
And here is the horse of the year, Go Zapper.
Of course, he's a legend of the barn. He's 24 years old. We had no intention of moving our stallion division here when we first purchased Alapa. And when the decision was made to move the whole operation here, we had 6 months to be out of the Lexington facility. So we had to construct that breeding shed and get all of these paddocks up so that we were ready for breeding season for our stallions. So I would say that Good Magic is probably the kindest, gentlest stallion in the barn. We're really proud of Good Magic and excited about his future. Of course, he had Mage win the Kentucky Derby in his first crop. We look forward to everything that's coming up from this guy. Curlin! Here, buddy. Hi, handsome. So here's Curlin. Consider him the king of the barn. Hi. It's great for me to do tours because when I do give a tour, the fans are so blown away, and they just say wow constantly, that it's a good reminder for me every day to appreciate it.
Back with you on America's Day of the Races, program brought to you in part by Hill & Dale at Alapa. Just majestic rounds.
I just look at that and I know that I have to get there at some point. It's too beautiful. What history in that farm, and what no better stewards of that property than the Sikora family.
I've heard it's gorgeous.
Feature race on this Saturday card from Hot Springs, the Renaissance. Kale's Angel still 1-9 favorite, winner of the Advent. We start with Perfect Magic in the post parade.
Was no match for Kale's Angel last time, but unlike Kale's Angel, she hasn't had a start in between.
Lost his footing at the break. 2-1 of 2 for Steve Asmussen. Son Eric rides. Wisconsin gal next door at a big number.
Yeah, big price. Just going to have to run faster than this horse has ever run before to be competitive here.
That's why I keep saying she, because there's a filly in the race.
Yeah, Wisconsin.
My cover. It's my cover.
Yep.
Filly facing the
Being an
boys. Here's the other Asmussen runner, other son Keith aboard.
Yeah, the best racer out of town. The horse didn't run that badly, though, in the Sanford with a third-place finish. He just hasn't gone forward from his earlier starts.
A little rambunctious in this post parade. Here's Kale's Angel, so 1-9 favorite, winner of the Advent.
It was just so impressive in the Advent. There are questions, though. Stretched out in the Smarty Jones in 2 weeks, turns back sprinting again. Did that effort take anything out of him or dull his speed a bit?
Win came on synthetic for this 24-1 shot.
But ran okay in the mud last time. Can he duplicate that effort on a fast track?
El Dandy, another big price on this multiple winner.
Big price, but does add speed to the affair. This horse has never run fast enough to win here, but should be a part of the pace early.
Wins at Keeneland and at Churchill. Wild and Crazy Night. Dan Ward trains, 3-year-old debut coming up.
Should be stalking the overmatched El Dandy in this race, and ran a 78 buyer in his second career start. If he can build on that, that was back in August. Now, we haven't seen him for near 6 months, but with routine improvement, I think he's a major player. He figures to be the second choice to the favorite here, and maybe the odds normalize a little bit as we get closer, as they usually do. But I'm taking Wild and Crazy Night to upset the field here.
Well, Jonathan, we knew Kale's Angel going in, the one to beat regardless. But after stretching out, trying the Derby Trail, now coming up back relatively quickly, are there some red flags here?
Absolutely, and I'm curious to see when you guys get it back for you to answer this question. I mean, isn't Kale's Angel a one-number horse? And while I guess I fell for a one-number horse last time, who I think didn't run poorly. I don't understand this horse at 1-9. And looking at the betting like Andy did, looking at the pool, I mean, someone made a huge wager, and I've understood the bridge jumping aspect from time to time, where it makes a little bit of sense to me. Not that this is bridge jumping because they're betting to win. I don't see what's attractive about this horse to make Kale's Angel 1-9. I thought the 7 Wild and Crazy Night was interesting towards the outside, a horse that hasn't run since October, but ran well last time, but showed a lot of speed in that race, a lot of pace, and I think that pace shows talent. And for whatever reason, if the 1-9 shot doesn't show up, give me a horse that has some talent. And it feels like Wild and Crazy Night is one of those horses, and was a short price last time and delivered, but I like horses that can withstand fast-paced races, and I've seen Wild and Crazy Night do that. Look, the 4, Kale's Angel, might run off the screen, but I'm going to try to beat her. Him.
What I would say to Jonathan's point about the one-number horses, okay, yes, technically he's a one-number horse, but he's only run one dirt sprint. His first 4 starts were on the turf, where he ran okay, but it clearly was the wrong surface. So there is a difference between his one big number and his other numbers, and that it was a dirt sprint. And to be fair, even his third-place finish in the Smarty Jones last time may be good enough to beat this field.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think you're talking about a horse, that has to run the 93. If he runs an 80 buyer in here, he's probably going to win, unless Jonathan and I are right about the 7, who has that one good figure. He's a bit of a one-number horse in that regard, too. I don't think that the 4 fits in that category. Now, I agree with Jonathan. This is no 1-5 shot. My biggest concern is stretches him out, now cuts back 2 weeks later, and, these are newly turned 3-year-olds. Does people like to say they're not machines, Richie?
Well, that's it. And that effort in between the big effort, to win the stake early in the meet, can it take something out of him? Could it dull his speed a little bit? I think there are questions at a very short price. I'm really interested in the 7 along with you guys. It's got that really deep new farm pedigree. All those horses for years were trained by Ben Perkins, generations of family. They've always bred a good and especially a fast horse. And now Dan Ward, who is a longtime assistant to Hall of Famer Jerry Hollendorfer, has the horse. I think he's very interesting. And if any improvement from 2 to 3, doesn't that put him right in the frame?
I think it does, and I like him as an alternative. And not as expected, he's gone down to 5-1, and he figured to be in the 9-2, 5-1 if you look at multi-race bets.
1-5 though. Kale's Angel, winner of the Advent, his only time sprinting on dirt. Fast track that day. Dominant. Can he do it again here in the Renaissance? Let's go to Matt Dinnerman.
Wild and Crazy Night to the outside post. We're ready to go in the Renaissance. And Lyruff could be getting the long shot. El Dandy put into play early. Kale's Angel striding close to him. He's going to take back and stock the pace here. Perfect Magic and Wisconsin Gal, the filly, facing the males today. A joint second with Perfect Magic. Kale's Angel is now in the 4th position. There's a gap of 2 to Wild and Crazy Night. 3 Echoes second to last, and that leaves Piquant to trail the field. There's a half mile to go. Eric Asmussen lets Perfect Magic stride level with El Dandy, and Perfect Magic has a head lead on El Dandy going into the far turn run. There's a gap of 2.5 to Wisconsin Gal. Kale's Angel in the 4th position now, showing a little more rain to get going. He's 4 lengths off the pace, getting a little bit closer now as Ramon Vasquez sounds the alarm on him around the far turn. He's making his move in the 4 path. He's going to come to the outside and attempt to floor it. Coming to the top of the stretch, Perfect Magic off the turn with El Dandy. Kale's Angel, grandstand side. Here he comes. And Kale's Angel going to challenge Perfect Magic in the final furlong. Kale's Angel furlong left with Perfect Magic, who's stubborn. And here comes Wild and Crazy Night's going to try to get through between horses. He's not going to get through between them. Perfect Magic, Kale's Angel continue to battle. And Kale's Angel has gutted it out to win the Renaissance. Kale would be proud. Perfect Magic second. Wild and Crazy Night. What an unlucky trip for him, third. And then Piquant, who ran on from a mile behind to round out the minors.
Kale's Angel looked like he might be in trouble here. Just gets up for the win, and now 2 stakes wins, undefeated sprinting on the dirt.
And he was extraordinarily lucky to win this race. There's no question Wild and Crazy Night was the best horse. Congrats to them, but he did not run his 93 buyer, and he was very lucky to win.
Yeah, Wild and Crazy Night was very, very unlucky. But as a former rider, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to be critical here, you've got to make a decision. And Rafael Bejarano was not making any decisions coming to the inside the 8th pole. You've got to commit and go forward. And it just looked like he never got comfortable and made a decision.
It's like he rode the race assuming it was going to collapse, which he was right about, but he had no plan for when it did. Should have won.
Kale's Angel, yeah, a little bit lucky to get this victory here. Does so, and that big wager made. Whew, breathing a sigh of relief for that win. We're back tomorrow on FS1 3 Eastern start time. Coming up next, Copa America 2024, Argentina's road to glory. It was running away, now 2 for 2. Gate to wire for both on the dirt, winning the Busanda on the road to the Oaks. And Corningstone, we will see tomorrow in the Pippin, the feature from Oaklawn, dominant in that mistletoe, where the top 4 finishers all return. We'll again see you tomorrow at 3 Eastern.